Chapter 41:38. Due to unknown reasons, Sogu is suddenly unable to find this site today. Everyone, including the previously arrogant demons, are all stupefied. At this moment, there's only one thought in everyone's mind. Who is this man? Deming-ju completely ignores the gazes around him and goes straight to Mu Yen. He grabs her hand and pulls her in front of him. That tender and laughable child's body can't do anything. At this moment, he could finally put Xiao Xiang into action, which he had desired for a long time. However, before he can pull her into his arms, his chest is pressed against. Deming-ju frowns, lowering his eyes to look at the youth's exquisite features. He says in a hoarse voice, "I am Mo-ju." "Fuck you, Mo-ju." Mu Yen can't wait to ruthlessly bite this man. If this man in front of her isn't Deming-ju, she would twist her head off. But this man has deceived her time and time again, and even now, he still doesn't want to recognize her. Mu Yen is so angry that she wants to laugh. Fine, Mo-ju, right? She wants to see how long this scoundrel wants to play with her. Mu Yen's figure flashes, and she breaks free from his embrace. She points at Yu Yanran with the hilt of her sword and says with a smile that isn't a smile, "Mo-ju, right? I think you've got the wrong person, right? That one over there is your fiancé. I don't seem to have any relationship with you." Deming-ju's arms are empty, feeling as if his heart is empty. Hearing the youth's words, he immediately says coldly, "Bin-jun doesn't have a fiancé." His gaze turns to Yu Yanran, the disgust in his eyes overflowing. "Who do you think you are, daring to call yourself my fiancé?" All of a sudden, shocked gazes focus on Yu Yanran. After a moment of shock, the demons can't help but laugh out loud. Damn it, this is so funny. This woman has been rambling for half a day, but it's all just talking to herself. A human spirit cultivator dares to say that we're shameless? I think they don't even know what shame is, right? Ha ha. How can you steal my fiancé, Mo-ju? Ugh. This old lady almost believed it. Even the people of the Nether region were stunned. They looked at Yu Yanran with complicated gazes. This woman was quite pretty, but he didn't expect her to be so. It was bad enough that she pretended to be someone else's fiancé, but she was also jealous of a male demon. Yu Yanran's body was on the verge of collapse, and her soul was so unstable that it almost wanted to retreat out of the Tianguang ruins. With tears in her eyes, she looks pleadingly at Deming-ju, her expression incomparably miserable and pitiful. "Ju Gij, do you really not remember me, Brother Ju?" The corners of Mayan's mouth slowly hooks up, but her eyes are overflowing with a dense chill. This form of address was really intimate. Deming-ju looks at Mayan and quickly says, "Bin-jun is not familiar with her." Mu Yen sneers, "What does it have to do with me whether you're familiar with her or not?" Yu Yanran was so angry that she almost crushed her teeth. These two people exchanged flirtatious glances, flirting with each other, and actually completely disregarded her. The onlookers kept pointing at her and gossiping about her. Those devils who wished for the world to be in chaos were even more unbridled in their ridicule. Yu Yanran was so angry that her body was shaking. She stared at Yap Liangchun with hatred in her eyes. A strong, killing intent rose in his eyes. This slut, she's going to kill him. She's definitely going to kill him. Feeling the malicious gaze, Deming-ju's eyes turn cold. He turns around and is about to move. His clothes are suddenly pulled by someone, and he's pushed to the side. A youth dressed in white slowly steps forward. Chapter 41:39. A youngster in white slowly walks forward. As he passes by, he gives him a cold look. "My business has nothing to do with Mo-ju. Go away. Or do you want to support your fiancé?" Deming-ju. "Bin-jun doesn't have a fiancé." "Hee, very good. No fiancé. That's great." Mu Yen glares at him, then walks straight to Yu Yanran. Deming-ju is at a loss and also annoyed. There's also an indescribable throbbing in his heart. Is the youngster being angry with him? Although he doesn't know the reason, this lively appearance seems to bring the distance between the two of them closer. It makes him want to press the person into his arms and fiercely block that irritating mouth. Thinking of this, Jun Shangdaren's ears slightly redden. Then, as if nothing has happened, he focuses his gaze on the youngster, not willing to leave for even a second. As Mu Yin walks towards Yu Yanran, she gently tosses the ruins Lord's command in her hand. A slightly husky and sweet-sounding voice carelessly says, "Let's get back to the main topic. Since we're going to snatch a man, there must be a process of snatching. It just so happens that I'm tired of fighting one duel after another. How about we play a big game today?" Saying that, she tosses the ruins Lord's command forward. A ray of light instantly radiates from the ruins Lord's command, enveloping the entire Nether District's reincarnation square. Everyone's ears hear the mechanical and flat voice of Tianguang ruins. Special user Yiliang Chun invites you to participate in the one-on-many group duel. The starting bet is 10 prestige points, no upper limit. Would you like to participate? What does that mean? One-on-many group duel? Demon King Yi, how come we received it too? Could it be that you want to fight against so many of us by yourself? Mu Yin lightly slashes the 7 absolute sword in her hand to the side, drawing out a beautiful and elegant sword flower. With his other hand, he crooked his index finger and hooked it at all the people and demons present. What? You don't dare? The people of the Nether District look at each other, thinking that this youngster is crazy. On the other hand, Yu Yanran's heart skipped a beat, and she even forgot to cry. She straightened her back and stared at Yiliangchen. Yiliangchen, if you lose, you will leave Emoju. Do you agree? Mu Yin smirked. Fine. If I lose, Yiliangchen will never see Emoju again. Yu Yanran was overjoyed. This Yap Liangchen was too arrogant and underestimated his opponent. He didn't know that he was a celestial king-level spirit cultivator. Moreover, the attribute of the domain was between the 9 planets lunar and 9 planets Sunday. Even in the Nether region, it would not be too restricted. Even if it was a one-on-one battle, she was not afraid of such a yellow-haired boy. Not to mention one against many. Yap Liangchen was courting death. On the side, Diming Ju's face turns black with anger when he hears this. Yi Liangchen would never see Mo Ju again. How would he say such cruel words? At this moment, he could not wait to capture this heartless youth and punish him severely. But in the end, he still restrained himself. He only sneered in his heart and thought, if worst comes to worst, I'll kill all these people in the end. I'll be the one to win, and the final conditions will naturally be decided by me. Yu Yanran sneered and chose to accept the duel. She did not forget to incite the spirit cultivators of the Nether District. Do you really want to watch a demon behave atrociously in your territory? Chapter 4140. The faces of everyone in the Nether region changed when they heard this. If Yi Liangchen really massacred everyone in the Nether region's prestige ranking, where would they put their faces? Now was the best chance to get rid of him and make him fall from the high ground. However, before everyone in the Nether region accepted the duel, the demons had already accepted the challenge with strange cries and then rushed towards Yi Liangchen. Great Demon King, since you proposed this duel, then I won't be polite. I have long wanted to fight with the great Demon King, but I didn't have the chance. Thus, everyone in the Nether region was dumbfounded as they watched the demons, who just bowed down to Yi Liangchen, rush up one by one, and raise their weapons, as if they wanted to tear that youth to pieces. Wait a minute. Isn't this the hero you worship, the idol you follow? What's going on with them attacking their followers without hesitation? Mu Yin didn't feel surprised at this scene, and her eyes emitted a bright light. The 7 absolute swords flew into the air and suddenly turned into 7 swords, scattering in all directions. Her figure also disappeared on the spot like a ghost, and she fought with the demons that swarmed toward her. Jing Rufeng and Lu didn't accept the duel. As the area manager of the demon region, Jing Rufeng couldn't participate in the duel, and Luda and the others simply knew Mu Yan's strength and didn't want to humiliate themselves. Jing Rufeng looked at the handsome youth shuttling between the tall demons, and his expression was blurred and intoxicated. What a wonderful figure. He really enjoys the battle and can break through continuously in battle. Just like just like Lord Demon Lord back then. Luda licked his lips at the side and gloated, "That bunch of idiots, they actually dare to fight with Boss Yi. They're dead for sure, ha ha." About a quarter of an hour later, the demons surrounding Mu Yin started to be kicked out one by one. These demons were either missing arms or legs, or their figures were illusory, and almost couldn't continue to exist in the Tianguang ruins. Mu Yan's expression became more and more carefree and unrestrained. She seemed to be slowly grasping the essence of the 9 luminaries lunar. Fortunately, she had experienced little martial uncle's domain before, and her star domain could not only devour the energy of other domains, it could even simulate the energy fluctuations of any domain in the world. When Mu Yin adjusts the form of her domain to be completely synchronized within 9 luminaries lunar, these devils, whose strength had been restricted by the 9 glory moon in the nether region, were no longer strong enough. Mu Yin seemed to have swept away all obstacles and directly knocked him out of the game. Only then did the people of the nether region react. They all took out their magic treasures and rushed forward. Bullying with numbers? Attrition warfare? He couldn't care less about these things. They would never allow a single demon youth to challenge their entire nether region. Otherwise, when Yiliangshan's name suppressed everyone in Tianguang ruins, how could the nether district dominate? How was he going to survive in Tianguang ruins in the future? The battle this time was obviously not as simple as the one with the devil race. The spirit cultivators of the nether region were all strengthened by the 9 luminaries lunar attribute. There was no lack of experts above the profound immortal stage. Their souls weren't as strong as Mu Yan's, and their battle prowess wasn't as amazing as Mu Yan's. But they won in numbers. The low-level cultivators desperately entangled Mu Yan's movements, and those profound immortals could quietly sneak attack Mu Yan, catching her unprepared. Chapter 41-41. In just a short moment, Mayan's body is already covered with many wounds. Her white clothes are gradually dyed red with blood. Di Mingju, who is watching the battle from the side, tightly clenches his fists in his sleeves. There is only one thought in his mind, and that is to dismember all the spirit cultivators of the nether region and turn them into ashes. However, when his gaze came into contact with the young man's slightly red cheeks and bright eyes, this thought was forcefully suppressed by him. He is enjoying the battle. Yes, even if he is covered with cuts and bruises and is in a precarious situation. Even if he is besieged by so many people, even if there are strong enemies waiting in the rear. But this seemingly weak youth is immersed in the joy of battle, without any fear or retreat. Instead, he is constantly growing. He is invincible. Di Mingju's tightly clenched hands slowly loosens, and his brows reveal a bone-piercing gentleness that even he himself didn't notice. He only wants to hold such a youth in his arms and treasure him well, not letting anyone covet and snatch him away. Mayan feels a gust of wind behind her. She narrowly avoids it, but there is still a burning pain coming from her back. Her body can't help but sway for a moment. She barely stands and turns her head to look. She sees Yu Yanran, who is holding 2 blades, looking at her expressionlessly. Seeing Mayan looking over, the corners of Yu Yanran's mouth slowly hooks up into a cold arc. Yiliangshan, do you regret being too arrogant now? If you directly admit defeat now, at least you can retreat from this duel in one piece. Mayan wipes away the blood and sweat on her face. She throws the long sword in her hand, grabs it with a backhand grip, and suddenly stabs backwards. A scream comes from behind. Another person is eliminated and leaves Tianguang ruins. The youth in white clothes is covered with wounds, but he still has a disdainful smile on his face. He hooks his finger at the people of the nether region again. What are you standing there for? Continue. He completely ignores Yu Yanran. Yu Yanran is going mad with anger. Her hatred for this Yi Liangshan even exceeds that of Jun Mayan. On the contrary, the way the people of the nether region look at Yi Liangshan has completely changed. They originally thought that he is just an unruly demon youth, but they didn't expect that he would be so tyrannical. Under the 9 glory moon of their nether world, He fought alone against a group of heroes, not retreating even half a step, not showing the slightest fear. If not for this group battle, there was no doubt who would be at the top of the Nether region's reputation ranking. One of the mystic immortals hammered his sword on the ground and cupped his fists, saying in a deep voice, "We admire fellow Taoist Ye's strength, and we're ashamed of our inferiority." But today's battle concerns the reputation of our Nether region, so we have no choice but to bully you with numbers. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? Mayan sneers and slowly steps forward. The original one figure seemed to have split into 2, 3, and even countless figures. This is the Shun musician's skill, shocking lotus step by step, that she has comprehended. Although it was not as heaven-defying as lotus steps, it was still so fast that ordinary golden immortals and mystic immortals could not catch it with their naked eyes. I started this duel because I wanted to fight to my heart's content. Are you going to fight or not? Everyone in the Nether region felt a sense of pride and immediately shouted, "Fight!" The figures of the two sides instantly intertwined and became a ball of battle. Although it was bullying with numbers, it was still a fair and square battle. As for Yu Yanran, who only knew how to sneak attack in such a battlefield, she was thrown to the back of everyone's mind. Chapter 41-42. Due to unknown reasons, Sogu is suddenly unable to find this site today. Yu Yanran gritted her teeth so hard that her body was trembling with extreme anger. Her eyes flashed with venomous light. Suddenly, she steals her heart, and something quietly falls between her fingers. A cold light flashes, and then disappears without a trace. Di Mingju seems to have sensed something and looks at her coldly. Just as he's about to move, he hears a beeping sound. He sneers and stops moving. His line of sight continues to focus on the fighting youth, and he doesn't bother to spare Yu Yanran a single bit. This battle lasts for more than an hour. The demons cheering for Mu, Yin on the side, are all hoarse from shouting. The last spirit cultivator from the Nether region props up his tottering body and chooses to admit defeat. He's a profound immortal with a very high cultivation. Before the battle started, he was full of anger and arrogance. He just wanted to ruthlessly knock this demon youth down and let him know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. But after the battle, he's already full of admiration for Yi Liangqin. The strength of little friend Ye's soul is something I've never seen in my life. I wholeheartedly accept my loss, and the Nether region also wholeheartedly accept my loss. The youth's white clothes have long lost their original color. Wounds of all sizes are everywhere on his body. But even so, he's still standing proudly, his figure solid, without the slightest flaw. In other words, his soul is still stable. After a pause, this person says in a clear voice, "From now on, Yi Liangqin is the strongest in the Nether region." No, it should be said that from now on, Yi Liangqin is the strongest in Tingguang ruins, the only one. With that, this person chooses to admit defeat and elegantly retreats to the side. Ah! Someone from the demon race immediately screams, "Long live Demon King Yi! Demon King Yi, you're the strongest!" There are also those who rushed over from the limitless region who heard the news and also shouted, "Great God Yi," and then led the people of the Nether region to shout as well. For a moment, the shouts and screams almost overturned the entire Tingguang ruins. As for Yu Yanran, who hasn't fought with Mu Yin yet, she's already forgotten. Others might forget, but Mayan wouldn't. She lowered her sword slightly, and her cold gaze landed on Yu Yanran. "Before we start fighting, do you have anything else to say?" Yu Yanran's face was expressionless. She was wearing a long skirt, and her charming face was slightly flushed. As she slowly walks towards Mayan, her long skirt brushes against the ground, making her figure even more graceful, swaying gracefully. It was as if she was a delicate and charming woman. There was no threat or malicious intent, so there was no need to be on guard. However, when she's only a few steps away from Mayan, the expression on his face suddenly turned ferocious. A cold light shoots out from her palm towards Mayan. Muyin has been waiting for a long time. Almost at the same time that Yu Yanran makes her move, she slashes her sword horizontally. With a clang, a pungent, sour smell filled the air, causing Mu Yan's expression to change slightly. This was the burning water that could corrode the divine soul. Once contaminated with the burning water, whether it was a spirit cultivator or a devil, their 3 souls and 7 spirits would immediately be damaged. If it was light, their strength would greatly decline, and if it was heavy, they would become an idiot. In Tianguang ruins, it was strictly forbidden to use this kind of poison that deliberately damaged the divine soul. Once it was used, it would be severely punished. Therefore, Mu Yan didn't expect that this golden branch and jade leaf would actually be crazy to this extent. She would rather suffer the punishment of Tianguang ruins just to destroy her. Chapter 41-43. Yu Yanran's face revealed a sinister and twisted smile. So what if she was punished by Tianguang ruins? At least she could watch Yu Liangchun, that slut, turn into an idiot. She wanted to see how an idiot could seduce the emperor. But the next moment, Yu Yanran's smile froze on her face. An invisible shield appeared around the young man, completely blocking the burning water that was splashed over. A few drops even splashed back and fell on Yu Yanran's face. She let out a heart-wrenching scream, covering her face and falling to the ground. Her face, which was originally smooth and creamy, was now riddled with bloody holes, making her look exceptionally ugly. Yu Yanran didn't even have time to react. She heard Tianguang Ruin's inherent cold and mechanical voice. User Jin Jiuyi used the prohibited item, incineration water, and attacked special user Yu Liangchen. She has seriously violated Tianguang Ruin's rules. She is now given a first-level punishment and will be permanently banished from Tianguang Ruins. This voice rang in everyone's ears. As soon as the voice fell, the thunderclouds that had been waiting in the air immediately rained down lightning, all striking Yu Yanran. Amidst the blood-curdling screams, Yu Yanran's figure gradually faded and disappeared. Her soul was struck by the divine lightning, and she was directly banished from Tianguang Ruins. Everyone present couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Was a first-level punishment so terrifying? Why did they feel that Tianguang Ruins especially hated this Jin Jiuyi? It took a while for everyone to recover from their shock. Then they heard someone shout, "So, great God, you won this duel?" One person directly defeated hundreds of demons in the entire nether region. Wait, it seems not. That person is also in the arena. Mu Yan slowly turned around and looked at the man standing not far away. Even if he wore a mask, even if he deliberately restrained his aura, it couldn't completely conceal his noble and peerless elegance. Mu Yan looked at him deeply, her eyes slightly hot. At least she now knew that Di Mingju was still safe and sound. Her body suddenly seemed to lose its strength, swaying slightly, almost falling down. The man who was still in the distance suddenly disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already holding the youth in his arms. Mayan looks up at him, reaching out to stroke his masked face, wanted to call out to Di Mingju. Thinking that they were currently in the Tianguang Ruins within the Nether Domain sphere of influence, he only said softly, "It's great that you're fine." Di Mingju looks at the youngster in his arms who is riddled with scars, as well as his clothes that have been dyed red with blood. His heart aches. Fortunately, this was only Tianguang Ruins. Once the duel was over, these injuries would heal. He hugged her tightly and said in a hoarse voice, "You're not allowed to marry the princess, and you're not allowed to participate in the groom selection anymore. Do you hear me?" Mu Yan, Di Mingju, that's enough. Instead of exchanging warm greetings after a long separation, you're getting jealous? Are you crazy? Thinking of the beauty who had just called him Brother Aju, she couldn't help but grind her teeth. She turned around and struggled out of the man's arms, sneering, "What if I have to participate?" Before he could finish his words, his vision blurred. Someone had already grabbed his wrist, and his body felt light as he was pressed heavily against the tower in the middle of the square. The scorching kiss instantly stopped her breathing and completely drowned her reason. After a long time, the man slowly let go of her. Chapter 41-44. The hoarse voice carries an irrepressible emotion, low and soft by her ear. "Don't marry the princess. Wait for me to go to the hidden abyss to find you, okay?" After saying that, he lowers his head and kisses her again. Then his figure gradually fades and disappears. The air is still filled with scorching and ambiguous emotions, as well as the man's cold and aloof voice. "I admit defeat. The duel is over. The winner is Yi Liang-chun. The calculation of prestige will now begin." The mechanical voice of Tianguang Ruins resounds in everyone's ears. However, no one seems to be able to hear it. They still haven't recovered from that fiery and explosive scene just now. Kiss, 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 kissed. And it's two men kissing in public. No, it's their demon king Yi, great god Yi, who is forcefully kissed by a man. The demons feel that they should be angry and irritable. After all, Demon King Yi is their demon race's future princess son-in-law. But just now, each and every one of them had their eyes wide open, their faces flushed and their hearts racing as they watch the whole process, and they still feel that it's not enough. Why? It's probably because that man is too strong. So strong that even if he deliberately restrains himself, even if it's just in Tianguang Ruins, it still makes them tremble from the depths of their souls. Only the strong are worthy of the strong. No matter if it's a man or a woman, no matter if it's a marriage, this is the demon race's inherent thinking. Mu Yin blushes and wipes her lips. The duel is over, and the wounds on her body begin to heal automatically. Even her swollen lips return to normal. But that scorching touch seems to still be there. That bastard. What does he mean by not marrying the princess? He's really jealous of even a woman, But why does she feel that Diming Ju is a bit strange this time? Forget it, he said that he would come to the hidden abyss to find her, so he will definitely come. Thinking that Diming Ju is safe and sound, thinking that the two will soon meet again, her heart surges with a sweet and peaceful joy. Tianguang Ruins announcement. Tianguang Ruins announcement. The mechanical yet urgent voice suddenly pulls Mu Yin back from her thoughts. The Nether region's prestige list first place updated. The new Limitless region's first place is Yi Liang-chun. At this point, the Nether region, Devil region, and Limitless region's first place of the three lists have been unified. The Central District's reputation leaderboard has been updated at the same time. The first person on the Tianguang Ruins reputation leaderboard is Yi Liang-chun. Since special class user Yi Liang-chun is the first user to achieve this, a special reward will be given. Yi Liang-chun, please choose a time to visit the Spirit Ruin Grotto Heaven. The voice dissipated. Mu Yin felt her palm warm up, and a small key appeared in her hand. A name immediately flashed through her mind. Spirit Ruins Jade Key. This was the third special key after the Heavenly Cloud Jade Key in the Cultivation Continent and the Floating Light Jade Key in the Floating Island. Spirit Ruin Jade Key. With this key, she could enter the core area of Tianguang Ruins. It was the Spirit Ruins paradise. Mu Yan's heart jumps. She thought of the man whose face and figure she couldn't see clearly. The owner of the Tianguang Ruins. She had suspected that he was her fiancé. Later, little Marshall Uncle's heaven-defying fate, changing top-quality heavenly treasures, as well as the materials to repair the Tian and Mo Qin, were also given by the other party. If she went to the Spirit Ruins Utopia, would she be able to see him? Or perhaps she could obtain information about Jun Shiyuan from the owner of the Tianguang Ruins. Thinking of this, Mu Yin immediately chose to go to the Spirit Ruins paradise. However, she was blocked outside the Iron Gate by an invisible barrier. Chapter 41-45. Little Sue, what's going on? The surroundings were quiet, with no reply. Mu Yin wasn't in a hurry. Crossing her arms over her chest, she waited calmly. After a long time, a weak voice came from the air. First-generation host, HLO. There were two huge wutong trees in front of the Spirit Ruins paradise. Along with this voice, a youth that looked almost the same as Xiao Tian and Xiao Guang appeared behind the parasol trees. But unlike Xiao Tian's liveliness and Xiao Guang's coldness, this youth seemed to be very shy. Most of his body was hidden behind the parasol trees, with only a small head sticking out, blushing as he looked in Mu Yan's direction. His fair baby face was bright red, and his eyes were filled with longing, childish admiration, and shyness. Muyin didn't expect that the last artifact spirit of Heavenlight Ruins would actually look like this. She couldn't help softening her voice. "Your little Sue?" The youth nodded lightly, his bright eyes staring at Muyin, but his voice was as small as a mosquito's. "First-generation host. I miss you very much. Seeing you, little Sue is too happy." Muyin walked over with a smile. "I'm also very happy to see little Sue." Hearing her words, the youth's face flushed with excitement. Seeing her approach, he was so flustered that he didn't know where to put his hands and feet. One foot stepped back, as if he wanted to run away at any time. Muyin was amused by his appearance. Before he could run away in panic, she scooped him up and rubbed his head. "I didn't expect little Sue to be so cute." "Little Sue, first-generation host praised him for being cute. He's burning up, he's going to die." Muyin teased little Sue enough, then pointed to the spirit ruin paradise. "What's going on? Why can't I go in?" Because little Sue can't contact Master." Little Sue looked like he was about to cry, feeling both guilty and annoyed. Little Sue already had the ruins lord and form Master. In the past, it was through them that I could contact Master. But this time, Master didn't give little Sue a response. "First-generation host, I'm sorry. Is little Sue very useless?" Saying so, tears were already swirling in his eyes. Muyin was astonished that little Sue's intelligence had already far surpassed little Tion and little Light. He was like a truly shy youth. She stretched out her hand to stroke little Sue's hair and said gently, "How could that be? Little Sue was the best. Thank you for protecting me in the dark every time and standing up for me." The youngster raises his head, his bright eyes look at Mayan, then he shyly lowers his head. He placed his index fingers together and spoke softly, but the corners of his lips were raised high. "First host, do you know everything?" Of course, Muyin knows. Regardless of whether it was to protect the burning death water from hurting her or to help her deal with the people from the myriad electrocution sect. Little Sue had always been shy and did not dare to come out to see her, but had always been protecting her from behind. Muyin took another look at the Spirit Ruins paradise and muttered, "Since the owner of Tianguang Ruins isn't here, I'll go in next time to receive my reward." Little Sue said softly, "Little Sue will definitely think of a way to contact Master." Xiaoxin Continent, Netherworld region. When Yuchun received the news from Tianguang Ruins, he couldn't help but reveal a surprised expression. Someone had actually managed to combine the 3 prestige leaderboards into one. Yuliang Chun. He seemed to have never heard of this name before, and it was actually a demon. Chapter 41-46. Due to unknown reasons, this site is suddenly unavailable on Sogu today. Please remember this site's domain name, Book C Pavilion, and find your way home. The only person who could open the Spirit Ruins paradise was the true owner of the Tianguang Ruins, Luo Yunxiao. Even if he was the owner of the ruins and could control the life and death of every cultivator in the Tianguang Ruins, he still couldn't completely control the Tianguang Ruins. But the thought of the first prince, who had completely changed, Yuchen couldn't help but sigh. He slowed down and walked toward the sleeping chamber where Luo Yunxiao was. On the way, he met Elder Pei Nan, whose cultivation was similar to his. Hearing that he was going to report to the new domain lord about the Tianguang Ruins, he followed him. "I also have something to report to the domain lord." As soon as they reached the door of the hall, a magical beast sprang out and let out a sharp voice. "Why are you looking for Master?" It was a magical beast that looked exactly like Chi-Wan, but upon a closer look, it didn't have any aura of a living creature. Its every move seemed sluggish and rigid. It wasn't a real magical beast, but a puppet. Yu Chun felt a stabbing pain in his heart when he thought of the noisy magical beast that used to accompany the first prince. That magical beast was already dead and would never come back. And the cold, indifferent, but kind-hearted first prince would never be able to return. But who was to blame for all of this? Yu Chun followed Chi-Wan into the hall in a daze. A white-robed man was drawing a formation. The window was open, and his long silver hair fluttered in the wind. His handsome face, which could captivate all living things in the world, was half covered, and it was breathtaking. However, when the man raised his head, Yu Chun and Pei Nan looked into that pair of blood-red eyes, and instantly felt as if ice water had been poured over them. All the amazement and confusion turned into fear in an instant. Yu Chun licked his lips and swallowed before saying respectfully, "Domain Lord, there's news from the Tianguang ruins. Someone has combined the 3 lists into one, achieved a new achievement, and obtained the Jade Key of the Spirit Ruins. But the opening of the Spirit Ruins Paradise requires Master to go in person. I wonder." Luo Yunxiao's face revealed a stunned expression. There was clearly no fluctuation in her eyes. But when Yu Chen stole a glance at the pair of blood-red eyes, he felt as if there was a heart-piercing sorrow and despair flowing within them. Qi Wen rubbed her head against Luo Yunxiao and called out, "Master!" Luo Yunxiao came back to her senses, and her long eyelashes slowly drooped. Her elegant voice carried a bone-piercing chill as she said, "Tell little Su that the Spirit Ruins Paradise will never open again." Yu Chen choked. He opened his mouth, but couldn't say anything for a long time. He wanted to say that if they should be rewarded or punished, the Netherrealm would lose its power in the Tianguang ruins. But so what? Whether the Netherworld was good or bad, flourishing or perishing, would this person in front of him care? Not slaughtering everyone in the imperial court of the Netherworld was already his last mercy. Yu Chun sighed softly and swallowed the words that were at the tip of his tongue. Pei Nan walked towards Luo Yunxiao and said, "Region Lord, this subordinate also has something to report." Swish. A cold light flickered as a blood-red dagger appeared in Pei Nan's fingertips. She stabbed it towards Luo Yunxiao's heart. "Luo Yunxiao, go to hell." Yu Chen's eyes suddenly widened as his heart almost jumped out of his throat. He didn't even know whether he was worried about Pei Nan or Luo Yunxiao at this moment. Puchi. The dagger pierced into Luo Yunxiao's chest. Blood flowed out and merged with the blood-red blade. Chapter 41-47. Luo Yunxiao's handsome face remained expressionless from beginning to end as he quietly looked at Pei Nan's ferocious face. The dagger was coated in poison as it pierced through Luo Yunxiao's heart. However, a black flame sprang up from the dagger and instantly climbed onto Pei Nan's hand. Ah! A heart-wrenching scream sounded as Pei Nan rolled around in the sleeping chamber. Yu Chen's lips trembled as he watched his former good friend's arm being swallowed by the Nether-Ean's sacred flame. Even his body began to disappear. He looked in horror at Luo Yunxiao and knelt on the ground. "Domain Lord, please spare his life. He just doesn't want the Nether Realm to truly decline." Yu Chen knew Pei Nan's thoughts too well. He wanted the Nether Realm to be strong enough to surpass the polar domain and unify the 3 realms. If Yin Wuji could do it, he would support Yin Wuji. After Yin Wuji was defeated by Luo Yunxiao, he would support Luo Yunxiao. But Pei Nan didn't think that Luo Yunxiao didn't want the Nether Realm to prosper. He only wanted to see the Nether Realm completely destroyed. So Pei Nan went crazy. Even if he knew he would die, he still wanted to kill Luo Yunxiao and restore everything to how it was before. Yu Chen's eyes were filled with pleading. He did wrong, but his intentions were good. He only did it for the Nether Realm. Luo Yunxiao looked at him indifferently, his voice cold and without any ripples. "What does it have to do with me? What does it have to do with me?" Yu Chen was struck by lightning and couldn't say another word. That's right. What did the Nether Realm's prosperity have to do with him? What did the Nether Realm give him other than him being born? Pain, torture, humiliation, and the loneliness of having nothing. Wasn't it a joke to let such a great haul continue to prosper the Nether Realm? Pei Nan's screams disappeared along with his body. There wasn't even a bone left. Yu Chen left in a daze. Only Luo Yunxiao, who was still drawing the formation, and Qi, one who was beside him with a dazed expression, was left in the room. Suddenly, Luo Yunxiao stopped and said, "How long do you want to spy in the dark?" Qi Wen tilted her head slightly. There was no expression in her eyes, but she asked in a puzzled voice, "Master, who are you calling?" In the next moment, several figures landed in front of Luo Yunxiao and knelt on one knee. Fun Tian, Anya Wu greets Master. Fun Tian, Dark Knight 7, greets Master. Fun Tian, Anya's 11th, greets Master. Luo Yunxiao's gaze fell on them. She frowned slightly and only said one word, scram. All three of them were dressed in black, and their faces were wrapped tightly with black cloth. The three of them were obviously stunned when they heard Luo Yunxiao's words. Then the man who called himself Anya 5 hurriedly said, Master, we are the same as you. We have been tortured by the Hongshan murder. But you are the only one who has fused with the world-exterminating half-soul. Anya's 11th's voice trembled. We all sensed it when you swallowed the world-destroying half-soul. We, Burning Heaven, have unanimously agreed to respect you as our common master. Only you can lead us to slaughter the Debii Temple, kill all those hypocritical immortals, and completely destroy this disgusting world. His words caused the eyes of the three of them to burn with a blazing light. Their bodies were trembling slightly because of excitement. However, Luo Yunxiao's face was expressionless when he heard their words. He just raised the corner of his mouth and smiled gently. Chapter 41-48. This smile made his already handsome face even more enchanting and moving. Fun Tian and the other two were all fascinated. They were impressed by Luo Yunxiao's appearance and strength. It was also the natural surrender of the body that had experienced the mortal tribulation to the world destroyer. However, soon, the man's cold and emotionless voice came into their ears. What do these things have to do with me? Anya the 5th said excitedly, Master, you have experienced the mortal tribulation. Don't you want to take revenge on Debii Temple? Don't you want to destroy the world? He paused, and his voice became hoarse because of extreme hatred. In order to destroy the world destroyer half-soul, Debii Temple selected thousands of innocent babies and let them become the hosts of the mortal tribulation. Most of them were tortured to death when the last half of their souls left their bodies. Those of us who were lucky enough to survive thought that it was a great gift not to kill us. In Fun Tian, there are also the survivors of the tribes that were persecuted by the so-called decent sects and the fallen evils with deep hatred. We don't want to see peace and prosperity. We don't want to unify the world. We just want all the creatures in the world to die. We're going to make those sanctimonious beasts suffer the pain that we've tasted and sink into hell together with us, doomed eternally. Fun Tian and the other two thought that Luo Yunxiao would unite with them after they said these words. However, the expression of the man sitting at the head of the table was still indifferent and calm. He looked down at the three of them, as if a demon was looking at ants. Since they were demons and ants, how could they be qualified to cooperate with each other? They suddenly realized that it was not that Luo Yunxiao didn't want to take revenge. He was just not interested in cooperating with them. Destroy the world. He alone was enough. Cold sweat rolled down from the foreheads of Fun Tian and the other two. Anya the 3rd suddenly thought of something. He opened his mouth and said with difficulty, Master, there is still a secret hidden in Debii Temple. Maybe you want to know? Chiwen immediately asked in a sharp voice, What secret? Tell us quickly, don't keep us guessing. Anya-san hurriedly said, Bodhidharma of Debii Temple has a demon immortal weapon called the Resurrection Lamp. With this soul resurrection lamp, as long as we gather enough materials, we can resurrect the dead. Luo Yunxiao, who had been absent-mindedly fiddling with the array formation, suddenly stopped. He looked over at him. The soul revival lamp? Feeling the cold gaze, Anya-san's body trembled more violently. Yes, I'm sure that Debii Temple has the resurrection lamp. Furthermore, they're currently planning to use the soul revival lamp to resurrect someone. We, Fun Tian, have also planted spies in Debii Temple, which is why I know about this. It's just that I haven't gathered all the materials yet, so I haven't started yet. Anya-san slowly raised his head, and his eyes were filled with adoration, desire, and temptation. He said word by word, Master, do you have a wish that you want to realize? Do you have anyone you want to resurrect? Go kill all the bald donkeys from Debi Temple and snatch the lamp of resurrection from them. We, Funtion, are willing to become the blade and sword in your hands, to charge and break through the enemy lines for you, and to help you become the one and only demon king of annihilation in this world. Shoshin Continent, southeast border. The first rays of dawn had just risen for the east, illuminating the entire land. Chapter 41-49. Many people in the Si-Ching tribe had already gotten up and were busy going in and out. Suddenly, the cultivator on guard saw a figure rapidly approaching and immediately shouted, "Who's there?" When the figure got closer, he found that it was a young and handsome monk. He was wearing a golden red kasaya, which made him look even more handsome, with red lips and white teeth. But there was tiredness and vicissitudes in his eyes. However, even a monk was not allowed to get close at will. The guard was about to scold him and leave, but he heard his companion call out in surprise, "Master Jing Yuan, is that you?" A month ago, Elder Huagu of the Si-Ching tribe led a team out, but accidentally encountered a group of corpse puppets. When they were almost wiped out, a monk saved them, and the guard who called out was one of the survivors who went out with the team. The Si-Ching tribe was actually quite xenophobic, but they still expressed a warm welcome to their savior. But somehow, they always felt that the little monk's face did not have the vitality that he had when they met last time. His eyebrows seemed to be soaked with sorrow and sadness. "Umitba." Jing Yuan bowed slightly to a little girl and said in a hoarse and soft voice, "Miss Wu Meng, last time you said you saw my second brother and his disciple in the Mo Mountain. Could you please take me there?" Wu Meng's little face turned red and she nodded quickly. "Of course. But I can't remember clearly. Maybe I can't find them." Jing Yuan slowly exhaled and said, "It doesn't matter. As long as you are willing to lead the way, I will be very grateful." His fingers slowly squeezed the Buddha beads in his palm. Jing Yuan would never have thought that he had not found his second brother and had not asked his master to return to secular life. But his second brother suddenly passed away. Both his master and eldest brother seemed to know how his second brother died, but no one was willing to tell him the truth. Eldest brother only told him that the resurrection lamp of Debi Temple could resurrect second brother, but it needed many rare treasures as fuel, and it also needed things that were contaminated with second brother's breath. Eldest brother would send people to collect and search for those fuel, but the things that were contaminated with second brother's breath were no longer in Debi Temple. After all, second senior brother had left Debi Temple for so many years. Therefore, Jing Yuan hurriedly returned to the Si-Ching tribe, hoping that Wu Meng could lead him to the place where second senior martial brother used to live. The people of Si-Ching's tribe were very grateful to Jing Yuan. They repeatedly told Wu Meng to help Jing Yuan. Given Jing Yuan's level of cultivation, others would need a flying magical artifact. He just grabbed Dark Dream's clothes and teleported, disappearing from where he was. Huagu had always been brooding over owing Grandmaster Jing Yuan a favor. As he watched the two of them leave, he couldn't help but smile. At this moment, a person hurriedly ran towards Huagu. "Elder, the female cultivator you brought back woke up." Huagu was startled. The female cultivator with the aura of the Wushang flame? She survived. Chapter 41-50. Due to unknown reasons, this site is suddenly unavailable on Sogu today. Readers, please remember this site's domain name, Booksea Pavilion, and find your way home. Huagu's spirit shook, and he quickly said, "Let's go and take a look." Under the abyss. The Cloud City competition finally came to an end on this day. Mu Yin, or rather Yi Liangshun, was the well-deserved champion. Of course, the people of Cloud City were already aware of this outcome half a month ago. Even Lu Jing, who was initially at odds with Yu Ying, was now convinced by this handsome and powerful youth. When he went on stage, his scream was even louder than Yu Ying's. Yu Ying couldn't help but smirk as she despised him. If she had a tail, it would have been wagging in the sky by now. "I'm just lucky and have good foresight. I can pick up treasures casually in a one-star main city. Where's little Chin Shun? Ask him to come out quickly. I brought him news." The door was pushed open, but the handsome youth was nowhere to be seen. Only Night Spirit was cultivating inside. During this period of time, under Mu Yan's pampering, Night Spirit had been eating demonic pills like candy. So her cultivation had risen straight to rank 9 demonic weapon, and she was just a step away from breaking through to demonic guard. Night Spirit couldn't help but want to roar at the thought of the thigh he had accidentally latched onto. What kind of demonic foresight do I have? I actually picked up such a peerless treasure from the Demon Cloud Ridge. Where's little Chun-Chun? Night Spirit said. She went to the West District. Why did she go to the West District? Ewing said. Forget it. Where did she go? Should I go look for her? Cough. There's no need for that. I don't know why she went to the West District. I'm afraid you won't be able to find her. Ewing said unhappily. I even brought him news related to her father. Night Spirit was stunned upon hearing that, and hurriedly jumped off the bed. Really? Can you really find Liangshan's father? I don't know whether I can find them or not, but I spent half a month to filter out all the demon masters and demon generals in the 4-star main cities who might have children wandering among the humans. I don't believe that I can't find the scumbag father who abandoned little Chun-Chun. At this time, Mayan is dressed in women's clothing, quietly passing through the Western District and arriving at the old man's hut from before. Half a month had passed, and the house that had been half destroyed was still half collapsed. Mayan shields her sense of smell, pushes open the door, and enters. Then, she is speechless to see the old man sleeping soundly in the garbage heap. The corner of her mouth twitched. This old man was really adaptable to circumstances. It had been half a month. If the house wasn't repaired, how could he sleep? Aren't you afraid of being hacked and stolen in the middle of the night? However, looking at the room full of junk and the stench, well, probably no one would come to steal it. Mu Yin knocks on the swaying door, as if it could collapse at any time. After knocking a few times, the old man grunted and slowly opened his eyes. It's you. What are you doing here? I don't have a second monster core for you to use. Mu Yin threw out a Qinquan bag. This is to compensate you. She rubbed her nose. I'm sorry for damaging your monster core last time. The old man took the Qinquan bag unceremoniously and opened it to take a look inside. Oh ho, so many Mabe, and there's even a devil core. As expected, people who can go to a 4-star main city to participate in the marriage selection are different. They're so generous. Mu Yan's body stiffened as she looked at the old man in shock. Do you think I can't recognize that you're that Liangshan? Chapter 41:51. The old man rolled his eyes. How many demon masters are there in the nebulous cloud city? How many of them can even destroy my top-notch demon core crystal? Do you think I can't tell if you're a man or a woman? I'm old, but I'm not blind yet. Mayan coughs lightly. I really had no choice but to dress up as a man to participate in the marriage selection. Please keep this matter a secret. All right. I'm not interested in other people's business. What's more, the Mabe and magic cores you brought have long surpassed the value of magic cores. Take the extra money as my hush money, lass. Only then does Mu Yin breathe a sigh of relief. In fact, back in Bloodflame City, the owner of the Monster Core Inspection House had also seen through his identity. However, the boss was even more valiant. He directly asked, so what if I'm an evil woman? As long as you are strong enough, you are qualified to marry the princess? What was the relationship between a man and a woman? Recently, Mu Yin has been staying in the hidden abyss for a long time, and her thoughts have gradually been assimilated by the demon race. However, even she was amazed by the eccentricities of the devil race. Mu Yin smiled at the old man and said goodbye to him before leaving. A low voice came from behind. What does it matter if it's a man or a woman? Anyway, no one can marry the princess. Mayan stares blankly. What does that mean? But this old man had always been mysterious, and the dilapidated house was really too smelly. Even if he blocked his sense of smell, he still couldn't bear it. Mu Yin did not ask any more questions, but turned around and left. When the old man saw that she had walked far away, the corner of his lips curled up. He took out all the devil cores from his Qinquan bag and stuffed them all into his mouth. If Mu Yin was still here, she would already be dumbstruck. Is there anyone who eats magic pills like this? Although these magic pills were all beneficial to the human body, their effects were different and their medicinal strength was strong. If you were to eat so many magic Dan-S at the same time, not to mention whether their attributes would clash with each other. Even a majestic medicinal power was not something that the old man's frail body and damaged monster core could withstand. However, the old man acted as if he could not feel anything. He puffed up his thin cheeks and swallowed all of the magic cores. The medicine took effect, and a burning pain came from every part of his body. The monster core revolved quickly, and a huge stream of air revolved around the monster core, as if it wanted to burst out of his body. The old man curled up in the garbage, and the pain made his whole body spasm. However, he did not groan. Instead, he laughed out loud. However, this laughter was hoarse, sorrowful, and fragmented, causing one's heart to ache when they heard it. As he laughed, turbid tears fell from the corners of his eyes. The old man laughed and said in a low voice, "It's so good, such a strong effect at least. I know that I'm still alive, ha ha." He did not know how long he had been in pain or how long he had been laughing. Suddenly, the old man's laughter stopped. His wrinkled and dirty face revealed an expression of disbelief, and his eyes slightly widened. At this time, the effect of the medicine had already passed, and the monster core had stopped spinning violently. The thick energy surrounding the monster core began to slowly seep into the monster core, slowly repairing the damage on it. Although he only repaired a little bit before the energy was exhausted and stopped, the old man suddenly sat up from the garbage heap. His withered, tree-like hand pressed hard on his chest, and his lips trembled. How could this be? How can it be repaired? How can it be repaired? Chapter 4152. The old man's line of sight slowly turned and fell on the Chinquin bag not far away. The demonic elixirs inside had already been eaten by him, so he had no way of knowing the effects of those demonic elixirs. But one thing was for sure. It must be the demonic elixirs brought by that little girl that helped his demonic elixirs to recover a little. The old man hugged his trembling body and suddenly laughed in a low voice. Then his laughter became louder and louder, almost hysterical. There is actually someone in this world who could recover his demonic elixirs? This was not a dream. This was not his imagination. The old man suddenly climbed up from the pile of rubbish and stumbled out. "Where is Yi Liang-chun? Where is Yi Liang-chun? Quickly tell me where Yi Liang-chun is." The demon who was caught by him pushed him away and said unhappily, "Is there something wrong with your brain?" Demon King Yi went to a 4-star main city to participate in the marriage selection, of course. "What? Already left?" The old man said excitedly. "When did he leave? Which 4-star main city did he go to?" "Old man, have you been dreaming these days?" Demon King Yi left yesterday morning through the teleportation token. "How would I know if you went to 4-star main city? There are only immortal slaying, soul devouring, sky reaching, cloud locking in the 4-star main city. In a few days, the Hidden Abyss Mansion report will announce the list. At that time, I must go to a 4-star main city to support Demon King Yi." After saying these words, the demon pushed the old man away and left. The old man walked back to his shabby house in a daze. Gone. So it's been 2 days since I took those demonic elixirs? After returning to the shabby house, the old man looked at the Chinquin bag full of mabe and slowly clenched his fists. Right? He could go and find that little girl. Since the demon god let him meet her, it must be to give him a chance of survival. He must catch her even if he died. The old man lay in the rubbish pile, but his heart was still agitated and it was difficult to calm down. Suddenly, he sat up, completely ignoring the stench of the rubbish pile, and plunged into it. After a long while, he finally pulled out the crystal ball that was overflowing with light from the inside. The old man looked at the crystal ball in his hand, his eyes burning with obsession, but tears unconsciously fell from his eyes. Try again. He slowly pressed his skinny fingers on the crystal ball, and a sparkling light emitted from his palm. In the next moment, a sharp pain pierced through his mind. It was as if thousands of sharp needles were stabbing his head. The old man was in so much pain that his whole body was bent over, and beads of sweat rolled down like rain. However, he held the crystal ball tightly and refused to let go. The monster core in his body spun madly, and the hole that had just been repaired reappeared on the monster core. However, almost at the same time, something entered the old man's mind. It was incomparably clear, and it shook one's heart and soul. The old man's eyes suddenly widened, his pupils constricted, and his lips trembled. A shrill scream escaped from his throat, and he fell into the garbage with the crystal ball in his arms. But after the scream, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. The devils returned to tranquil region, a pearl in the vast sea. The phoenix soars through the 9 heavens. The 3 realms return to its heart. When the divine master ascends, where will he look at the 9 prefectures? Your Royal Highness, Your Royal Highness. Ha ha! It turns out that the one who brought me a glimmer of hope is Your Royal Highness. You didn't expect it, did you? You never thought that there would be a day where I would make a comeback, did you? As he laughed, his tears fell down, with blood bright red and glaring. Your Royal Highness, your subject, the priest of the Demon Emperor, Zhongli, greets Your Royal Highness. Chapter 4153. Demon Imperial City. Still haven't found the princess? Minwei frowned at the 4 dejected people and couldn't help but pace back and forth in the room. Shueji glanced at him cautiously and said in a low voice, I almost flipped over the 2- and 3-star main cities, but I couldn't find any trace of Her Highness. But what? The demon blood guards under Wu Feng reported that they saw a demon woman trying to leave Hidden Abyss. They discovered her and hurriedly escaped, but they lost track of her. Wu Feng guessed that she might be a spy from Nether Realm or Polar Realm. Because of the investigation, she panicked and wanted to escape, so she exposed herself. After that, we did a thorough investigation in the nearby 3-star main cities and caught quite a few spies. Minwei rubbed his forehead. So after investigating for half a month, you have no clue of the princess? The 4 lowered their heads and didn't dare to speak. Minwei was so angry he wanted to smash their heads. Do you know that the Heavenly Enchantment Banquet is about to begin? All the clans and sects of Xioshin Continent are coming. At that time, the Hidden Abyss cannot be completely sealed. If you can't find the princess, what are you going to do about the Heavenly Enchantment Banquet? The 4 shrunk their necks and wanted to find a hole to hide in. No one dared to provoke Minwei, who had turned into a fire-breathing demon. Shueji carefully looked up and whispered, How about we ask Lord Zhongli to come out of seclusion and divine for us? Since the princess is in Hidden Abyss, it will be much easier for Lord Zhongli to divine her location. Minwei frowned and glared at her. Lord Zhongli was seriously injured in the war 1,000 years ago. Since then, he has to go into seclusion to heal. When he comes out, the Heavenly Enchantment Banquet will begin. How are you going to find him? Do you think your idea is good? Shueji shook her head and almost cried. Sob, sob, sob. The Heavenly Enchantment Banquet was the Demon Venerable's idea. Elderman Wei didn't scold the Demon Venerable, but them, picking on the soft persimmon. Yao Dao thought for a moment. Elderman Wei, how about we stop looking? Stop looking? Yes. We will wait for the princess to come out herself. His eyes flickered, and he said in a low voice, Although the Demon Venerate doesn't like the Polar Domain's sovereign lord, the princess even has a child with him, so their relationship must be pretty good. Deming Ju has been invited to the enchantment banquet. As long as the princess is still in the Hidden Abyss, she will inevitably hear the news. At that time, there's no need for us to look for him. The princess will find a way to meet Deming Ju. Min Wei frowned, revealing a pondering expression. This wasn't really a solution. Although there was a certain risk, there was no other way. Min Wei waved his hand and said, just do as Yao Dao said. Remember to wear the Demon Core Bloodjade at all times. If you miss the princess, let the Polar Domain people take her away first. Hee. At that time, be careful of your skin. I know. Rest assured, Elder. The princess must not be snatched away. If Deming Ju wants to marry our princess, then he can marry into our Qianyuan. He'll serve the princess together with the prince's son-in-law selected from the general election. Shuejiai said excitedly. Which one do you all favor? Let me tell you, there's an outrageously handsome boy in a 3-star main city. His name is Yi Liangchun. I heard that he's very good-looking. His little face is so tender that water can come out of it. Chapter 4154. The key is that he's strong, can refine demonic pills, and had a large group of followers behind him. I think it's good to let him serve the princess. TCH, what's so good about a pretty boy? I think the kid from a Hellion family is the most interesting. He's arrogant, cold, and powerful. I like him the most. Hellion is too bloody and cruel. What if he scares the princess? I think the younger generation from the Bailey family is better. Minwei, damn it, he really wanted to throw this group of brainless devils into the demonic fire and let them be reforged. Demon Imperial City, Yua Palace. Immortal slaying, soul-devouring, sky-piercing, cloud-locking. Choose which 4-star main city do you want to watch the competition. Yin Ruhan looked at the 4 teleportation tokens in front of him, then at the little girl in front of him. He couldn't help but smile. Although he was told to choose, only one of the 4 teleportation tokens was placed in front of him. The other 3 were placed far away. Was he supposed to choose? It was obvious that he had already chosen for her. Yin Ruhan picked up the teleportation token in front of him and said gently, I choose Immortal Slaying City. Seeing that he chose Immortal Slaying City as he wished, Yu's delicate little face immediately bloomed with a bright smile. This smile was too much like a pure little girl's, innocent and pure, as if it could not tolerate any filth in the world. Madam, I also want to go to Immortal Slaying City, may I? A gentle voice came over, causing Yin Ruhan to suddenly return to his senses. Luo Siyuan walked toward the two with a charming smile on his face. He looked at Yu with a gentle gaze, but his tone was teasing and pleading. We're both demonic pets. Madam, you can't only take Ruhan, but not me. Saying that, he walked toward Yu as if he wanted to pull her into his arms. But before he could touch Yu's hand, Yu had already taken a step back and moved closer to Yin Ruhan. She squinted her almond-shaped eyes and looked at him for a while. Her lips slowly curled up. Okay, you can come too. What about us? We want to go too. I've long wanted to see Demon King Ye's glory, the first demon to unify Tianguang ruins. My lord, bring me along. In an instant, a group of magic pets rushed out, chirping nonstop. Yu waved her hand and said, all of you, go together. The demonic pets immediately cheered. Long live my lord. I can finally see Yap Liangchun, who I admire so much. Who are you to call Yi Liangchun? Call him Great Demon King. Yin Ruhan, little junior sister, what did you do this time? He didn't even want to be a demoness and directly promoted to a Great Demon King. He reached out to touch his forehead and couldn't help but smile helplessly. Suddenly, Luo Siyuan's voice sounded in his ears. Brother Ruhan, do you know Yi Liangchun? Yin Ruhan retracted her smile and said gently, why would Brother Luo ask such a question? Of course I don't. I just feel that Yap Liangchun's appearance and fighting style is more like a human spirit cultivator. I thought that Brother Ruhan would know him. Luo Siyuan said casually, but if you think about it, it's impossible. If he was a fallen evil, how could he be so powerful? And how could he be so crazily sought after by the demon race? Chapter 4155. It would take a lot of devil chi to teleport so many people to the immortal slaughtering city. However, with Yu's cultivation, she naturally did not care about these things. She ordered all the demonic pets to stand around her. She held the teleportation token of the immortal slaughtering city in her hand and injected demonic energy into it. A thick black and red mist emanated from her body, enveloping everyone, including Yin Ruhan. His head felt heavy and his feet felt light, as if his soul was being torn out of his body. Yin Ruhan's expression suddenly changed, and she subconsciously reached out to grab the girl's hand. In the next moment, the world before his eyes spun. When he steadied himself, he saw a vast plain. The green grass was lush, and the mountain range was verdant. The air was filled with dense spiritual chi and immortal chi, but there was no demonic chi. This seemed to be a paradise. What happened? Where are we? A panicked voice sounded in his ears. Yun Ruhan turned around and realized that she and you were not the only ones who had entered the blessed enclave. There was also a male pet who grabbed Yu's sleeve out of excitement and nervousness. It seemed to be called Yenin. This was a demonic soldier of the same rank as Yun Ruhan. He had been following Yu for a very long time, but he was very timid and weak, so he usually did not have much of a presence. Now, he had suddenly arrived at a strange place without even devil chi. Yenin was so scared that he didn't know what to do. He grabbed Yu's sleeve tightly, wishing he could stick his whole body to her. You didn't expect this, did you? A familiar voice sounded. Luo Siyuan walked over with a smug smile on his face. Behind him, there were more than 10 people. Each of them had reached the peak of the golden immortal realm. 3 of them were even profound immortals. As for Luo Siyuan, the demon core he had revealed in the secluded moon palace was that of a demon guard. At this moment, there was not a single bit of demonic energy on his body. Instead, a powerful celestial energy was being released. He had actually reached the 3rd level of the mysterious immortal realm. Luo Siyuan waved his hand, and the spirit cultivators behind him immediately spread out, surrounding Yu and Yun Ruhan. Demon Yu, I've endured humiliation and been your pet for so many years just for this day. This cloud sun immortal abode will be your burial ground. After saying this, Luo Siyuan waited for Yu to reveal a panicked and angry expression. However, he was met with the girl's mocking eyes. I was wondering why I always felt that your body had a foul smell, and it made me feel disgusted when I got close to you. It turns out that it's a demonic aura forged by the demonic corpse nucleus. Luo Siyuan's face instantly twisted, and his eyes seemed to be spitting fire. He had always been proud of his incomparably handsome appearance, and he was not inferior to even the polar domain sovereign emperor. There were countless female cultivators in the Xioshan continent who wanted to be his beloved concubine. A person like him disguised himself to approach Yu and seduce a little girl. It should have been a piece of cake, but who knew that for 2 whole years, Yu would not even look at him, not to mention asking him to serve her in bed. On the contrary, Yun Ruhan, a good-for-nothing fallen evil, climbed into Yu's bed in just one night. Luo Siyuan had no sexual interest in Yu. However, Yu's disregard and disgust for him deeply hurt his self-esteem. He sneered, "Female devil, what you're saying now is just a last-ditch struggle. There is no demonic energy in the cloud, sun, immortal abode, only immortal energy and spiritual energy. No matter how powerful you are, you're just a beast without teeth at our mercy." Chapter 4156. Speaking of which, I have to thank you, Brother Ruhan. If this demoness hadn't promised to bring you to the immortal slaughtering city, I wouldn't have had the chance to tamper with the teleportation token and send you all to my Yunyang immortal abode. Yun Ruhan didn't get angry. Instead, she asked in confusion, "Who are you? Why did you kill Yu?" Bloody and cruel demoness. Everyone has the right to kill her. Before Luo Siyuan could speak, the other 2 Xian immortals beside him were already shouting angrily. Yu, do you still remember us? I'm a descendant of the Lin family. Back then, it was you who went crazy and slaughtered the entire Lin family. When you slaughtered indiscriminately back then, did you ever think that you would end up like this? And my 9-son sect clearly had no grudge with you, but you suddenly barged into our sect and killed our sect leader and 18 elders. If I don't avenge this blood feud, I'm not worthy of being called a disciple. When these people spoke of Yu's crimes, their eyes turned red. Clearly, their hatred had reached a boiling point. Luo Siyuan said, "Fellow Taoists, there's no need to be agitated. Killing Yu today will naturally avenge your friends and masters. When the time comes, we'll also be able to take down the demons." Hearing Luo Xiyuan's words, they bowed to him repeatedly, their faces full of gratitude. We're fortunate to have the Blazing Flame sects help this time, and fellow Taoist Luo didn't hesitate to serve the demons to seek revenge for us. We're truly grateful. From now on, my Nine Sun sect is willing to merge with the Blazing Flame sect and follow Senior Brother Luo's orders. Luo Xiyuan smiled with satisfaction. Most of the grievance and resentment he felt from Yu Yu's humiliation had dissipated. No matter what, as long as he killed Yu Yu today, he, Luo Xiyuan, would be famous throughout the world. If he could merge the Nine Suns sect and the Lin family into the Blazing Flame sect, the position of sect leader would definitely be his. Yu Yu, it's your honor to be my stepping stone. Luo Xiyuan composed himself and waved his hand. Let's not waste any more words. If this demoness calls for reinforcements, it won't be worth it. Before his voice died away, his figure had already rushed forward, the long sword in his hand flashing with a cold light as it was unsheathed. The others were already filled with hatred. If they could kill Yu Yu for revenge, how could they delay? They immediately surrounded her. With a wave of her hand, Yu Yu pushed Yun Ruhan and Yin Tong several meters away. A black and red halo enveloped the two of them. Yu Yu smiled and licked her lips with the tip of her tongue. Her eyes were filled with excitement and bloodlust. Without saying a word, her figure suddenly turned into a wisp of black smoke and rushed towards Luo Xiyuan and the others. Damn it, this demoness can't even absorb devil chi in Yunyang celestial abode. How could she still be so powerful? Hold on, everyone. This demoness was only consuming the remaining devil chi in the demon core. This bit of devil chi would be exhausted sooner or later. As long as we persevere, we will definitely be able to make this demoness run out of energy. Fresh blood and severed limbs splattered in the Yunyang celestial abode, which was filled with immortal chi. The girl in it laughed loudly. Her laughter was clear and melodious, and her expression was innocent and pure. Her eyes were filled with disdain and disdain. Just like how they had planned in every possible way, they were not skilled hunters. They were just ants who had barged in by themselves, overestimating their own abilities and trying to shake a tree. Luo Xiyuan hurriedly took a step back to avoid the blood of his fellow spirit cultivator. His face was completely dark. He had originally thought that this assassination, which had been planned for several years, would definitely be a success. Chapter 41:57. They hadn't expected Yu Yu's strength to be so strong. 4 Xian Immortals and a dozen peak Golden Immortals couldn't do anything to a weakened Yu Yu. She had even killed several of them in the blink of an eye. Luo Xiyuan's eyes turned and landed on Yun Ruhan and Yenin. His eyes flashed with a sinister cold light. His figure suddenly swayed, and he arrived in front of the black-red light shield. He raised the long sword in his hand, gathered all the immortal power in his body, and slashed at the light shield. It was a loud bang. The red light shield shook violently and made a cracking sound, as if it would shatter at any moment. Save me, my lord. Yanan's face was pale, and he couldn't help but cry out in fear. He retreated, almost out of the light shield. It was Yin Ruhan who was quick to pull him back. Not far away, Yu Yu, who was on a killing spree, paused and frowned slightly. Luo Xiyuan immediately shouted, "Hold her back. This demoness cares a lot about her pretty boys. As long as I capture them as hostages, Yu Yu will surrender." His words caused the spirit cultivators to perk up. The panic of wanting to retreat just now had all turned into desperation and ferocity. Even though Yu Yu was powerful, she was suppressed to the point where she couldn't move. Luo Xiyuan's long sword once again looked at the red light shield. Again and again. Yu Yu's protective shield was very powerful, but this was Yunyang Immortal Abode, where there was only immortal chi and spirit chi. Luo Xiyuan's strength was magnified infinitely. Every time he slashed, the shield weakened by 30%. In just a few breaths, it was on the verge of collapse. Yenin was scared out of his wits. With a sobbing tone, he shouted, "You spirit cultivators speak of upholding justice, but all you do are despicable and shameless things. Isn't it enough to kill my lord with a dozen of you? Now you want to threaten us with 2 little demon soldiers? You are the shameless ones." Luo Siyuan sneered. "Everyone has the right to punish evil. What's the point of morality? Only by killing this demoness. Will there not be so many people in the world who will be tortured by her?" "Nonsense!" Yin screamed. "I know everything about the Lin family and that Nine Sons sect. The head of the Lin family deceived the daughter of the Li family and used this to swallow up most of the Li family's businesses. The Lin family's patriarch even tried to kill the Li family's young lady when she was giving birth, causing the child to die in her womb. The Li family's young lady narrowly escaped death and was rescued by a loyal servant. But the Lin clan was afraid of the Li clan's revenge, so they decided to go all out and slaughter the entire Li clan. Miss Li fell to the devil with hatred and joined Sir, begging Sir to take revenge for her. That was why his lordship decided to give them a taste of their own medicine and massacred the entire Lin family." Yin Ruhan was stunned. She didn't expect the truth to be like this. Yin Gui's eyes were bloodshot. And the Nine Sons sect. They claimed to be a righteous sect, but in the end, they used mortal false immortals and low-grade demonic weapons to activate the restriction formation in an attempt to improve their cultivation bases in a short period of time. Tens of thousands of mortals and low-level devil soldiers turned to dust in your hands. One of the devil soldiers was a relative of his lordship's subordinate. When his lordship learned of this, he took revenge for his subordinate and killed those elders and sect masters who were worse than beasts. What's wrong with that? You humans always say that we demons are sinister and cunning, cruel and bloodthirsty. But in reality, you humans are often 100 times more sinister and cunning than demons, and 100 times more insane. Chapter 4158. Due to unknown reasons, Sogu is suddenly unable to find this site today. Fellow readers, please remember this site's domain name, Book C Pavilion, and find your way home. What face do you have to speak up against Lady Yue like this? Yin roared out these words. Every word he said was the truth. This made the Lin family and Nine Sons sect members' expressions turn ugly. Their hands couldn't help but slow down a bit. Luo Siyuan only snickered. His expression was full of nonchalance and arrogance. Those who achieve great things don't bother with trifles. How would you stupid demons understand? It is an honor for those mortals and low-grade, demonic soldiers to become stepping stones for us on the path of cultivation. As for that woman from the Li family, it's just a family matter. Which male cultivator doesn't have multiple wives? That Miss Li was jealous and overbearing, and in the end lost her husband's heart and harmed her family. She didn't reflect on herself, and instead fell to becoming a demon. A crazy woman like her should be punished. Furthermore, when did you demons have the right to interfere in the matters of my spirit cultivators? As he spoke, Luo Siyuan raised the long sword in his hand again and slashed down. There was a huge boom, and a huge wave of air pushed Yin Ruhan and Yin away. The protective barrier finally couldn't take it anymore and shattered. Luo Siyuan laughed loudly. Yue, take a look. Your demon pet is already in my hands. Do you want their lives? If you want it, you'd better surrender. Otherwise, I'll cut off their flesh piece by piece in front of you and cut up their demon cores inch by inch. I like to see how long you can hold out. As he spoke, Luo Siyuan's figure had already moved forward. Yin let out a terrified scream. Yin Ruhan's eyes narrowed, and he opened his hand, assuming a sword stance. But before he could unsheath his ice soul sword, a thin and slender figure appeared in front of him, and Yin puffed. Fresh blood and minced flesh mixed with Luo Siyuan's screams. Everything in the Yunyang immortal abode seemed to freeze. Luo Siyuan staggered backward and looked down at his chest. There was an empty spot where his heart should have been. Not far away, a young girl was holding a beating heart in her slender, fair hand. That was his heart. Luo Siyuan opened his mouth, wanting to say something. The corners of the young girl's lips curled up, revealing a bright and radiant childlike smile. Then he exerted force with his 5 fingers. Splat! With his heart shattered, Luo Xiyuan's eyes widened as he collapsed stiffly on the ground. Even at the moment of his death, he did not understand why he was defeated. He had clearly planned this for several years, advancing step by step, and had a thorough plan. Yu Yu was supposed to be a stepping stone on his path to becoming the sect master. But why was he the one who died in the end? The members of the Lin family and the Nine Sun sect stared at this scene in horror, unable to believe their eyes. Luo Xiyuan was dead? Luo Xiyuan, a third-order Xian immortal, was killed by the demoness Yu Yu just like that? Quick, escape. Escape from the Yunyang celestial abode. Don't come over, help. An hour ago, the spirit cultivators were still full of vigor and hatred, but now they were only left with despair and panic. They wanted to escape from the Yunyang immortal abode. However, the Yunyang immortal abode was Luo Xiyuan's personal treasure. Now he was dead. Only spirit cultivators who were much stronger than him could forcibly tear open the immortal abode's barrier. And none of them had a higher cultivation than Luo Xiyuan. Where could they escape to? The general of a defeated army was routed 1,000 miles away. Chapter 4159. They hadn't been Yu Yu's match earlier, and now they didn't have anyone to fight. In the blink of an eye, the dozen spirit cultivators had become a dozen mutilated corpses. Fresh blood dyed the grass and flowers in the Yunyang immortal abode red. In this glaring red, a girl in a light yellow dress stood leisurely, like a young girl who had come for a walk in the spring, ignorant and innocent. Victory, victory! Yin shouted excitedly, pulling Yin Ruhan over. My lord won. Ha ha ha! I knew you wouldn't lose. Yin Ruhan couldn't help but be shocked, because of the power that this small body could unleash, and the indifference that didn't even raise an eyebrow in the face of death. Compared to the little girl who was curled up on the bed and snuggling into his arms, Yu was like a completely different person. What had Yu experienced in the past? Yin Ruhan looked at Yu in a daze. The girl's body suddenly swayed, and she fell backwards. My lord! Yin shouted and wanted to rush over. But Yin Ruhan was faster and caught the girl's soft, cold, feather-light body. Are you all right? Yu opened her eyes and glanced at Yin Ruhan before lowering them tiredly. Her voice was crisp and cute, but cold. Little demon pet, who allowed you to hug me? Yin Ruhan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He really wanted to let go and let this bad-tempered little girl fall to the ground. But looking at her pale face, he couldn't bear to do so. He was about to speak when his expression suddenly changed. Then a huge force hit him in the face, sending him and Yu flying, crashing heavily into the fake mountain. The fake mountain shattered, and huge rocks tumbled down, drowning the two of them. Yin Ruhan felt that it was an extremely powerful demonic aura. Because he hadn't cultivated his demon core much, he was only a 9th-rank demon soldier. So when he encountered a demonic aura much stronger than his demon core immediately stopped spinning, and his body entered a state of suspended animation, unable to move. Fortunately, demonic aura wasn't the only energy in his body. Moreover, this was the Yunyang immortal abode, which was rich in spirit and immortal qi. As long as he switched from being a demon to a spirit cultivator, he would quickly recover. Just as Yin Ruhan was circulating his spiritual energy, he heard Yin An's voice. Different from his previous shrill, terrified, and nervous tone, Yin An's tone was now thick and flamboyant. The sound quality was obviously the same, but it gave off a completely different feeling. I'm so sorry. Although it's not good to take advantage of others, I've been waiting for this opportunity for too long. Yin Ruhan was astonished. He did not expect that Luo Xiyuan was not the only spy. Even Yin An's identity was not simple. Then, he heard Yu's calm voice. Which family are you from? No. We're Guan Yu. No. Guan Yu. Yin Ruhan vaguely remembered that these two were the same as Yu. They were the Demon Emperor's personal guards and the captains of the Gorfine team. Did these two want to kill Yu? Why? Yin couldn't help but laugh out loud. Lady Yu doesn't need to know about this. My master didn't want to be enemies with you, but he can only blame you for choosing you as the successor of the Blood Demon Commander-in-Chief token that Elder Min Wei likes the most. Chapter 4160. At this point, Yan'an's voice was bitingly cold and solemn. The Blood Demon Marshal's token is one of the most supreme authorities of the demon race. With the Blood Demon Commander's token, you can command the 10 million demon army and become a trusted subordinate of the demon venerable like the 4 demon generals. My master has been striving for this position for so many years. How could he allow the position he has worked so hard for to fall into the hands of a lowly, fallen evil? Yun Ruhan's heart skipped a beat, and she almost lost control of her spiritual and immortal energy. Yu is actually a fallen evil? Was that why she had such an unknown side to her? Yu sneered, I don't care who your master is. If you want to kill me, why don't you do it yourself? Do you think you can kill me? Of course, it would be impossible if Lord Yue was at her peak. Yin did not mind her ridicule at all. He grinned and said, After all, my lord, you are known as the strongest demon below the demon generals. But it's different now. Killing those spirit cultivators just now consumed a lot of your demonic energy, right? Even if he still has the strength to fight, he is already an arrow at the end of its flight. He won't be able to hold on for long. Yan'an's voice paused for a moment before it became somewhat hoarse and resolute. This lowly one has been lurking by your side since so many years ago. I never thought that I would be able to return alive. My devil core has already been engraved with a devil restriction formation. Once it explodes, the entire immortal abode will collapse. And now, Lord Yue, you no longer have the ability to tear open this immortal abode and escape from inside. Lady Yue, after being your magical pet for so many years, this lowly one truly admires you. But I am more loyal to my master. Today, I can accompany you to death and fulfill my master's wish. I can die in peace. Yan'an's laughter was hysterical and crazy, causing one's eardrums to sting. At this moment, Yun Ruhan was anxious, and the speed at which she circulated her spiritual energy increased. Then, he heard Yu use a motionless voice. This has nothing to do with him. You only want my life. Let him go. Who was he referring to? Yun Ruhan was slightly startled. When she opened her eyes, all she saw was darkness. But he seemed to see that slender and frail little figure standing proudly. Yan'an's voice suddenly became sharp. He only served him for one night, and Lord Yue is already so fond of him? He's just a small demon soldier, a lowly fallen evil. How enviable. However, if you think about it carefully, Lady Yue, although you have many magical pets, I have never seen any of them sleep with you for so many years. Don't tell me that other than this little demon soldier, you've never touched any demon pet? Now that you mention it, it's even more enviable. Yu's voice was cold. So, you're not going to let him go? He, of course. Yan'an's voice inched closer and closer to Yun Ruhan. Who knows how much this little demon soldier heard? It wouldn't be good if it affected Master's plans. Furthermore, I've already died with you, Lord Yue, but this demon soldier who has served you is still alive. How can I accept this? I'll kill him now, and then I'll go to hell with you, my lord. Boom! The boulder on Yun Ruhan's body was blown away, revealing his still unconscious figure. Yan'an's eyes flashed with a strong, killing intent. His arms and nails suddenly extended, grabbing toward Yun Ruhan's magic core. Chapter 4161. But before he could touch Yun Ruhan, a light yellow figure suddenly appeared. A cold light flashed, and Yan'an's arm was directly chopped off, flying into the air. Yin took a step back, and his severed arm quickly grew back. But the Yin was not a palm, but a long and thin knife. His bunny-like face became ferocious at this moment. Lord Yu, am I not beautiful enough? Why do you only protect this trash MO soldier? He extended his arm again, and the knife formed from his palm, slashed towards Yun Ruhan, and blocked Yu's actions. In the next moment, Yun Ruhan felt a warm liquid drip on his face. It was so hot that his heart almost stopped beating. Ah, Lord Yu, so your injuries are more serious than I expected. Yan'an's voice was sharp and excited. I did not need to detonate the demon core to complete Master's orders and kill you. Lord Yu, I have been your demon pet for so many years, but I have never fulfilled my duties. Today, let me serve you well before you die. Yan'an's voice trembled with excitement as he approached. Actually, this lowly one has to thank Yin Ruhan, that trash Emo soldier. If not for saving him, Lord you would not have lost your ability to move so quickly, and this lowly one would have the opportunity to serve you. Yan'an's eyes burned with fire, and his heart almost jumped out of his chest. Mu Chong of the demon race. He had followed Yu for so many years, and he really liked the strongest captain of the blood demon team. Even if it was not for the mission, he hoped to make love to Lord Yu and have a dream. Unfortunately, he was different from the other high and mighty demons. Yu had a harem of demon pets, but she only kept them and rarely got close to them, much less asked them to serve her in bed. Yen had offered to sleep with her many times, but he had been chased out. Of course, there were many like him in Yu Palace who offered to sleep with her. He made up his mind that before he killed Yu, he had to have physical intimacy with her. But Yu's accumulated power caused him to be extremely careful with every step he took. The knife in his hand trembled slightly and gave off a buzzing sound. The girl sitting on the grass looked so weak and harmless, without the slightest ability to resist. Yen licked his lips and slowly stretched out his hand. He grabbed Yu's clothes and was about to rip it open. A sudden change occurred. A powerful energy wave came from behind him. Yan'an's survival instinct made him sense danger, and his expression changed drastically. But he thought that the danger came from the front, from Yu. Therefore, he did not hesitate to raise the sharp knife in front of his chest, turning it into a shield. However, in the next moment, a sharp pain came from his back. His flesh split open and his bones broke. The pungent stench of blood, accompanied by the pain of his monster core, being torn inch by inch, caused Yin to cry out involuntarily as he was sent flying. He struggled for a long time before he finally got up. He turned around abruptly and widened his eyes in disbelief. He saw a green-robed man holding a long sword slowly walking towards him from the ruins of the shattered rockery. Dense spirit chi and immortal chi encircled him and drilled into his body. The long sword in his hand emitted a bright white light. As the long sword swept across the blood-stained grass, a layer of frost instantly formed. Chapter 4162. Due to unknown reasons, Sogu is unable to find us today. Please remember our domain name, Book C Pavilion, and find your way home. Yin Ruhan ignored him and walked to Yu. Seeing the girl's blood-soaked clothes and the huge wounds on her legs and abdomen, he frowned. He originally wanted to ask, "How are you? Can you stand up?" But now, for some reason, anger surged from the bottom of his heart. He pursed his lips and did not speak, bending over to carry her. Yu was also looking at him in shock. The fire in her eyes flickered as if it wanted to pierce through him. "You're a spirit cultivator?" Yu looked at him expressionlessly. Her eyes were cold and bottomless. "So, you're like them, sneaking into my Yue palace to kill me?" Now that he could use spirit energy in the Yunyang immortal abode, he could open his storage space. There were very few pills related to the demon race. But Yin Ruhan still found one and fed it to Yu. This pill contains a small amount of demonic chi. It can help you heal. Yu glanced at the black elixir, and the corners of her mouth suddenly curled up. She smiled innocently like a young girl and said, "You want to poison me with such a simple method? But it's not bad." As she spoke, she lowered her head and swallowed the pill. Her hot tongue licked Yin Ruhan's fingertips. He felt like he was struck by lightning. His body stiffened and his ears turned red. Yu curled her lips. Her voice was delicate and soft. "What? You're a human spirit cultivator, and you want to taste the demon race? Don't you think the demon race is dirty?" Yin Ruhan coughed lightly. After a while, he calmed his racing heart and said softly, "I'm not a spy, nor did I deliberately deceive you. It was a freak accident that I entered your Yua palace. Yu sneered. She wanted to say, you, a spirit cultivator, disguised as a demon and snuck into Yua palace. How dare you say you're not deceiving me? But the next moment, her small hand was grasped by a wide hand. Yun Ruhan guided his hand to the right of her heart. Her voice was soft, as if explaining and comforting. You could try injecting some demonic chi. There's a demon core here. I have a half-spirit and half-demon body. Yu was stunned. In disbelief, she channeled her demonic energy into Yun Ruhan's body. In the next moment, he felt a magic core slowly rotating inside. There was not much devil chi lingering around the demon core, and the demon core was also very small. However, the devilish chi it contained was extremely pure, even more so than some low-grade heaven-nourished devils. If it wasn't for the devil chi surrounding him, anyone would think that he was a member of the devil race, a small devil soldier with limitless potential despite being small and weak. But how was this possible? She had been in the abyss for so many years and had seen all kinds of demons, but none like Yun Ruhan. Even the children of the heaven-nurtured fiends could only choose one path of cultivation. Otherwise, their strength would stagnate at the golden immortal level, unable to advance. This was because the two types of energy could not coexist in the same body. Yu's expression kept changing. She no longer showed her innocent, lowly expression. She stared fixedly at Yin Ruhan as she enunciated each word clearly. Who are you? Yin Ruhan let go of her hand and said, we can talk about this after we get out of here. This person, what should we do with his demon pet? Yu was stunned. She looked at Yin and laughed softly. Her voice was crisp and sweet. What else can we do? Kill him, of course. But she narrowed her eyes and turned to Yun Ruhan. Hey, how long do you plan to hold me? Chapter 4163. Yun Ruhan blushed and almost let go. But thinking of the current situation, his hands trembled slightly, but he still hugged the person in his arms tightly. There's a forbidden array in Yin An's demon core. If he suddenly chooses to trigger it, the mystic realm will collapse. You're too far away from me, and I can't protect you. I didn't mean to be rude. His voice was calm, but the tips of his ears reddened even more. Yu squeezed the hand that had just been held and felt that it was very hot. She snorted softly and didn't speak again, but the corners of her mouth unconsciously curled up a little. By now, Yin had already healed the wounds on his body, and he slowly stood up. He glared fiercely at Yun Ruhan, his eyes full of unwillingness. I didn't expect that my years of planning would be ruined by your hands. Yin Ruhan, I was wrong. I really shouldn't have underestimated you. Lady Yue has so many male pets around her all these years, but only you can climb into her bed. Just this alone tells me that you're not simple. Yin Ruhan touched her nose. Climbing into her bed was probably a little different from what Yin had imagined, but she wasn't interested in explaining this at this time. He merely said in a gentle voice, you're not my opponent. You'd better surrender. Ha! Ha ha! Surrender without a fight? Yin Che acted as if he had heard a great joke. Our demon race has never surrendered without a fight. Do you think that just because you're a Xian immortal, you have victory in your hands? No, everything is just going back to my original plan. I'll use my life to exchange for Lady Yue's in your lives. You'll die with me. With a roar, Yin En's chest and abdomen lit up with a dazzling golden light. Powerful energy radiated from his body, blasting his already injured abdomen into a pulp. Yin furrowed his brows in pain, but he continued to laugh hysterically. Buried in my demon core is the 7 Fiend Destruction Array. Even a 5th-level demon master or above can't withstand it. Without a master, this Yunyang immortal abode will be destroyed in one blow. If Lady Yue still had the strength of your peak, you might be able to survive. But now, only death awaits you, haha. Yin An's laughter stopped abruptly. His eyes were wide open as he stared at the young man not far away. It was as if he had seen a ghost. The young man put down the girl in front of him and hugged her to his side. His other free hand stabbed the ice soul sword into the ground. An ice-cold and majestic aura emanated from the Ice Soul Sword and enveloped the entire Yunyang immortal abode. Fourth-level mountain and sea domain. One sword of the mountains and seas, freezing everything within 10,000 kilometers. The mountain sea domain froze the entire Yunyang immortal abode and protected it. The rockery that had collapsed due to the explosion was covered with frost and gradually stabilized. There was no movement at all. Such a violent and powerful explosion, the Great Seven Fiend Destruction Formation, that even a fifth-stage Demon Master could not withstand, was actually steadily blocked just like that. Even when the Ice Soul Sword pierced through his abdomen and his demon core was frozen and shattered, Yin still could not believe what had just happened. He stared fixedly at Yin Ruhan. His lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he could only collapse helplessly. Yin Ruhan withdrew the Ice Soul Sword and let out a long sigh of relief. In reality, he had not yet adapted to absorbing immortal qi. In the battle of life and death on the floating island, he had narrowly escaped death. Chapter 4164. With the help of little junior sister's Star Nirvana skill, his strength broke through Golden Immortal and reached Xian Immortal. But as soon as he reached Xian Immortal, he fell into the abyss. There was no spiritual power or immortal power under the abyss, only demonic energy. This was the first time he used the power of a Xian Immortal, and he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to block Yin An's final attack. Fortunately, his Mountain Sea domain had been upgraded to the 4th level. The Yunyang immortal abode also greatly strengthened the spirit cultivators and weakened the demonic cultivators, allowing him to win easily. Yin Ruhan looked at Yu Yu and said gently, "We're going to leave the Yunyang immortal abode. Are you ready?" After leaving the Yunyang immortal abode, they would arrive at the 4-star main city, Immortal Slaying City. At that time, he would be able to see little junior sister. Mu Yin didn't expect the 4-star main city of the demon race to be like this. The sky was filled with stars, shining dazzlingly whether it was day or night. Not all the houses in the main city were built on the ground. Some were suspended in the air, surrounded by dark red halos, and the halos were filled with dense and pure demonic energy. Hee, are you stunned? Ewing looked at Mu Yin and Night Spirit's stunned expressions and couldn't help but smile proudly. The Immortal Slaying City is modeled after the Demon Imperial City. In terms of beauty and luxury, the other 3 main cities can't compare. Of course, Ewing sighed, her expression turning bitter. In terms of the strength of the participants, the Immortal Slaying City is not comparable to the other main cities. Little Chun Chun, it won't be easy to become the leader of the Immortal Slaying City. Mu Yin was actually a little hesitant to continue participating in the marriage selection. The weakest demon in a 4-star main city was a peak demon guard, and the strongest had even reached the demon general level. A demon master was equivalent to a Xian immortal among spirit cultivators, and a demon general was equivalent to an immortal king among spirit cultivators. She didn't know if there would be a demon general in the marriage selection. If there was, would her disguise work? She was afraid that people would see through her identity at a glance. But little Chun Chun, you also have a chance. Your cultivation is at the 5th level of Demon Master, and there are only a few who are stronger than you in the entire Immortal Slaying City. Dark Peak's Xiong-Shu, Firefox Palace's Rui Wu. If you meet these people, you have to be careful. Of course, the one you have to be most careful of is that brat from the Hellion clan. At this point, Ewing paused and fear flashed in her eyes. Hellion Jua is the same as you, a child of a heaven-raised demon. His father is the captain of the famous blood demon team, Hellion Guanyu. When Hellion Jua was young, he also lived among spirit cultivators, but his actions were 100 times more ruthless than the native demons. 100 years ago, when he returned to the Hidden Abyss, he chose to give up on spirit cultivation and become a demonic cultivator. In just a few decades, his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. Now, he had already reached the 7th level of Demon Master, Many people say that Helianjua's future achievements will far surpass his father, Helian Guanyu. Mu Yin collected her thoughts and looked at Yu Ying curiously. How did Helianjua acknowledge his father? Yu Ying snapped. Is that what you're focusing on? Isn't marrying the princess and climbing to the peak of demon life more important than acknowledging your father? Even if your father is more powerful and has a higher status, can he be higher than the princess? All right. Actually, I'm not too clear. I only know that Helianjua has a demon core blood jade in his hands. When he got close to Helian Guanyu, there was a reaction, so they acknowledged each other. I'm afraid that not many people in the Hidden Abyss know the specific details. Chapter 4165. Little Chun Chun. Although marrying the princess is important, if you're up against Helianjua at the start of the competition, you should just forfeit. He's too ruthless. Even if you win against him, you'll have to pay a huge price. I'm afraid you won't be able to participate in the following matches. Mayan pretends to say inadvertently. Then why don't I withdraw from the marriage selection now? Night Spirit echoed hurriedly. That's right. I think that Liangshan's achievements are already shocking enough. Who in the Hidden Abyss doesn't know Yi Liangshan's name? He didn't have to marry the princess to prove himself. Think about it. There were already so many experts in a 4-star main city. How dangerous would it be when they reached the Demon Imperial City? Right, Yu Ying glared at Night Spirit until the latter's hair stood on end and she could no longer laugh. Little Chun Chun, you can't be so lacking in ambition, Yu Ying said resentfully. Do you know how many demons are supporting you in the Hidden Abyss? Giving up just like this. How disappointing would you make those devils? What's more, if you become the leader of a 4-star main city, you can directly go to the Demon Imperial City and participate in the Heavenly Enchantment Banquet. Do you know what the Heavenly Charm Banquet is? Yu Ying was so excited that her face and neck turned red, and her voice trembled. At the Heavenly Enchantment Banquet, all of the talented young men who want to marry the princess will come. Among them, there is even a #1 expert of the Xioshan continent, the Polar Domain's monarch. That was the Polar Domain Empyrean Lord. Don't you want to see him? Don't you want to spar with him? Mu Yan's face darkens. Say that again. Who would come? Polar Domain, Sovereign Emperor. Yu Ying raised her chin and said proudly, Now, everyone in Devil Imperial City and 4-star main city knows that the Polar Domain's monarch has already agreed to participate in the Heavenly Enchantment Banquet and wants to marry our princess. Haha, even the Polar Domain's sovereign lord is willing to marry our fiend race's princess. It's sufficient to see how great the princess's charm is. Halfway through her words, Yu Ying finds that Mu Yan's complexion is very unsightly. It's so gloomy that it's practically dripping water. Chin, what's wrong? Was he too surprised and afraid to hear that the Polar Domain's sovereign lord was a competitor? Actually, you don't have to worry. The Honor Demon has already said that our princess will marry more than one husband. Let's not talk about the one in the Netherworld first. When the time comes, she will choose another one in the Xioshan continent and another one in the Hidden Abyss. At that time, you can fight for the position of the Emperor's son-in-law. Although you won't be able to become the Emperor's son-in-law, it will be your honor to serve the princess. After all, the Polar Domain's sovereign lord and the Nether Domain's highness are serving the princess together with you. Mu Yin couldn't help but curl up the corner of her lips, revealing a sinister smile. Yeah, this is really my honor, Good, very good. This demon princess was far beyond her imagination. It was not enough to have youngest uncle. She still needed to find a husband in the abyss. Now, 2 son-in-law aren't enough. They also need Di Mingju. Di Mingju. You want to marry a demon princess? Good. That's great. Yu Ying said cautiously. Little Chun Chun, why is your smile making me scared? What was going on? If you really want to withdraw from the betrothal selection, then we can do so. I'll do my best to help you find out which demon scum your father is. Mu Yin took a deep breath, and the sinister smile on her face became perfect and flawless. No, of course I want to participate in the betrothal selection. How could I miss the opportunity to be the Emperor's son-in-law together with the Nether Domain's Highness and the Polar Domain's Sovereign Lord? Dimingju, just you wait. Whoever withdraws from the betrothal selection is a dog. Chapter 4166. Due to unknown reasons, Sogu is suddenly unable to find the site today. The young man's long eyebrows slanted to his temples, his peach blossom eyes rippling like water. Even though she was dressed as a man, she still exuded a captivating charm, causing Yu Ying to be dumbfounded. If she was a princess, there would be no need to compete or find a husband. She would decisively take such a beauty into her arms, and from then on, she would never look at other common women. The competition in the 4-star main city was different from the competition in the 1 to 3-star main city. The Immortal Slaying City had already gone through a round of competition. In the end, 10 male devils with outstanding looks, great strength, and a clean history of love were chosen. At this point, there were very few who could stay and participate in the competition. Therefore, the competition system in 4-star main cities was one-on-one. There were 3 matches every day. The winner would advance, and the loser would be eliminated. Muyan had a bye today, but she still followed Yu Ying to the arena. Because Hellion Jua was competing today, she also wanted to see just how strong this Hellion Jua, who was also a descendant of the demon race like herself, was, who caused Yu Ying to feel fear. The first match was between Hellion Jua and the head of a 3-star main city, Tang Hongi. What surprised Mu Yin was that Hellion Jua's appearance was very outstanding. It was different from Bailey Weiron's gentleness and elegance. Hellion Jua had a tall nose and deep eyes. His figure was tall and slender, and his eyes were brown like a wolf's. He had a handsome appearance and powerful strength. Hellion Jua naturally had many supporters. Almost as soon as he appeared, the Immortal Slaying Square immediately burst into an uproar. Someone was screaming. Someone was shouting Hellion Jua's name. There were also people who scattered Ma Bei on the stage. However, there was also a portion of people who immediately retreated when they saw Hellion Jua hiding in the crowd. Their eyes were filled with fear and dread. Mu Yin had already mentally prepared herself. Hellion Jua's match would definitely be one-sided. However, she had never imagined that the gap between them would be so huge. That was a true crushing defeat. His opponent was also a ranker who had fought his way up from a 3-star main city, a 3rd Order Demon Master. But in Hellion Jua's hands, he couldn't even withstand a single move. The scariest thing was the injuries on Tang Hongi's body. His bones were crushed inch by inch, his flesh was cut open by sharp nails, and his intestines were picked out. The only thing that was still intact was the magic core. As long as the magic cores were still there, the devils could recover from their injuries and be reborn. But that also depended on the severity of the injury. With Tang Hongi's injuries, it would take at least 10 years for him to recover his strength. Tang Hongi's blood-curdling screams seemed to echo in the Immortal Slaying Square. The people who had just been screaming and cheering for Hellion Jua were now completely silent, their faces pale. Even with the cruel and bloodthirsty nature of the devil race, looking at this scene, they could not help but be horrified. Yu Ying and Night Spirit gripped Mu Yan's hands tightly, as though they were trying to draw strength from her. Night Spirit said with a trembling voice, "Liang Chun, should we retreat? If we meet him, we'll withdraw from the competition, okay?" The female demon soldier looks at Mu Yin with a pleading look. She was the only one who knew that Yap Liangshun was a woman. Even if he were to become the final victor of the betrothal contest, there was no way he could marry the princess. What was the point of risking her life to fight like this? This time, even Yu Ying did not speak. Mayan rubbed Night Spirit's head and was about to speak. Suddenly, she saw Hellion Jua, who had already been declared the victor on the magic crystal platform, fly in a certain direction. "Lord Yue, I really didn't expect that you would come to watch my competition as well. How was my performance just now? Did it satisfy you, Lord?" Chapter 4167. Everyone's attention was attracted by Hellion Jua's words, and they couldn't help but look over. When they heard the meaning of Hellion Jua's words, and saw who he was flying towards. The demons on the immortal slaughtering square sucked in a breath of cold air and retreated as if they had seen a ghost. In the blink of an eye, that area became empty, leaving only a beautiful and adorable girl standing there. And behind her, there was a young man dressed in green with a gentle appearance. The moment she saw the young man, Mayan's eyes widened, and her heart almost stopped beating. As the crowd retreated, Yun Ruhan, who was standing next to Yu Yu, became extremely conspicuous. Heliandra's arrogant gaze fell on her, and he smiled faintly. Lord Yu Yu's eyesight is getting better and better. Now, even such a lowly little demon soldier can catch her eye. Yu Yu fanned herself with a bored expression, then looked at Yun Ruhan and complained with puffed cheeks. The smell of a mortal slaughtering city is too bad. It smells like a wolf. I can't see little Chunchin here either. Forget it. Let's go back. Yun Ruhan had just seen the flow of the immortal slaughtering city's marriage selection. He found that his junior sister would only appear on the third day, and the immortal slaughtering square was crowded. Even if Mayan came to watch the competition, he might not be able to find her. So he nodded. Okay. Yu Yu's eyes were bright, like an innocent and cute little girl. I know that the immortal slaughtering city's demon blood-cold cake is very delicious. Come with me to buy it. Yin Ruhan looked at her with a somewhat helpless and doting gaze. Lord, you said before that eating too much demon blood-cold cake would make one's stomach bloated. You can't sleep well at night. Did I say that? I don't care, I must eat it. If I really have a bloated stomach and can't sleep well, you'll be responsible for warming my bed until I fall asleep. Heliandra's expression suddenly became extremely gloomy, because from beginning to end, Yu didn't even look at him. She even treated him as if he didn't exist. Heliandra, who had always been feared and admired by others, had his face contorted for an instant before he started to laugh lowly. His figure suddenly flickered, and he appeared in front of Yu Yu and Yun Ruhan, who were about to leave. His handsome face was filled with a careless mischievousness. I remember now, the family seems to be lacking a watchdog. I think the one by Lady Yoyue's side is not bad. If Lady Yoyue has no objections, I will take him with me. As soon as he finished speaking, Heliandra raised his hand, and a dark light shot out from his palm, instantly wrapping around Yun Ruhan. Yun Ruhan wanted to struggle free, but she discovered that the black threads wrapped around her body were actually formed from pure demonic energy. If he wanted to break free, he would have to expose his identity as a spirit cultivator. Otherwise, he would not have been able to do it with the demonic aura of his demonic weapon. Yu Yu's eyes turned cold. She finally looked straight at Heliandra. Heliandra, has the water of the river of forgetfulness entered your brain? Even your father doesn't dare to be so arrogant in front of me. You want to take someone away from me? Do you think I'm dead? Heliandra laughed heartily, as if he was very satisfied to see Yu Yu's expression change. He extended his index finger and shook it lightly. The black demonic aura around his fingertip immediately affected the threads binding Yun Ruhan, causing him to reveal a somewhat pained expression. I want to take him away. What does Lady Yue want? Kill me? Chapter 4168. The corners of Yu Yu's mouth curled up, a bloodthirsty and cold light flashing in her eyes, but the voice that came out of her mouth was even softer and sweeter. Fine. Since you want to die so badly, I'll kill you. As soon as she finished speaking, the petite girl's figure had already disappeared. Heliandra's gaze hardened, his hands slightly spread apart, his entire body as still as a boulder. The dark green light around him suddenly exploded. Boom! With a loud sound, Heliandra took a few steps back, his body swaying, a few traces of blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. The petite girl in front of him slowly landed, looking at him with an icy expression. The immortal slaying square was dead silent. Everyone stared at the scene with their eyes wide open. Lord Yu Yu had won this battle? Wasn't that to be expected? Lord Yu Yu was a peak demon master, while Heliandra was only a level 7 demon master. But in the next moment, Heliandra burst into a burst of wild laughter. Lord Yu Yu, what's wrong with you? The demonic energy hasn't dissipated, and you don't have the usual sharpness and killing intent. The attacks that hit my body are like tickles. It won't be so easy to kill me with just this. Yu frowned slightly at him, saying in a low voice, "Your cultivation is already broken through to level 8 Demon Master." She was using a statement. The surrounding demons in the Immortal Massacre City all gasped when they heard this. Especially those male demons who were going to participate in the marriage selection. They were even more fearful and hesitant, wondering if they should admit defeat in advance if their opponent was Hellion Joie. Level 8 Demon Master. He was only one step away from the strength of the 3 blood demon captains. Moreover, Hellion Joie was so ferocious and even knew some remarkable techniques that demons didn't know. Who could compete with such an opponent for the position of Emperor's son-in-law? Hellion Joie wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth as he walked towards Yu, his face full of arrogance. Lord Yu has good eyesight. Not bad. My demon core has already broken through to level 8 Demon Master, and I'm only a small bottleneck away from level 9 Demon Master. But logically, even a level 9 Demon Master should have a big gap with you, Lord Yu. But from the looks of it, Lord Yu isn't as strong as I thought. Don't tell me he's injured. Yu sneered. So, the banquet was arranged by Hellion Guanyu. But it wasn't for himself, but for his precious son. The Hellion family is really not bad. They even know how to use the human spirit cultivator's scheming methods. Hearing this, Heliandra narrowed his eyes as the smile on his lips deepened. Yin was indeed Guan Yu's trusted subordinate, but Hellion Joie was the one who arranged for him to be by Yu's side. He wanted the noble status of the princess's son-in-law, and he also wanted the Gorfine team to have real power. One day, the entire submerged abyss would belong to him, Hellion Joie. He would become the supreme demon lord. If he wanted to ascend to the position of the demon lord, Yu would be his biggest obstacle. Yin and Soul Lamp suddenly went out, but Yu appeared in the Immortal Massacre City. Hellion Joie thought that his plan had failed. That was why he disregarded everything and tried to investigate in public. He was overjoyed to find out what he was looking for. Yu was injured, and it was not a light injury. If he wanted to get rid of her, these few days in the Immortal Massacre City would be the best opportunity. On the other hand, the skilled and bold Hellion Joie did not even wait to return home to report to his father that Guan Yu had sent an assassin. He wanted to severely injure Yu in public. Chapter 4169. He couldn't wait for all the demons to see. He, Hellion Joie, was the strongest among the younger generation of demons, the only choice for the princess's husband. Hellion Joie waved his finger and pulled Yun Ruhan, who was bound by demonic silk, in front of him. Lady Yu, I don't want this dog anymore. But I don't like him. Today I'll end his dog life. Yu shouted, You dare. She instantly moved forward, her body emitting a thick, bloody aura. The immortal slaughtering plaza was instantly engulfed by strong winds. But Hellion Joie was not afraid at all. Instead, he laughed even more happily and excitedly. Yu was fighting by burning her demonic core. This meant that she was truly at the end of her tether. Apart from expending her own cultivation, there was no other way. And this useless demonic soldier next to him was probably Yu's new pet. She was willing to sacrifice herself to save him. The heavens are really helping me today. Seeing Yu charge over in a bloody mist, Hellion Joie quickly controlled Yun Ruhan to block in front of him. At the same time, a blood-red dagger appeared in his hand. This dagger was coated with a poison that could corrode demonic cores. If Yu was touched by it, her injuries would worsen, and she would no longer be able to resist. With Yu's cultivation, she shouldn't have been injured so easily. But who asked her to worry about this demonic pet? With her mind in a mess, it was easy for her to fall for it. Even if she didn't fall for it, watching her beloved demonic pet die in front of her was enough to make her lose her mind and reveal a flaw. Yin Ruhan looked at Hellion Joie's smug smile and couldn't help but frown. Yu, don't come over. I don't need you to save me. Yu replied in a slightly hoarse but resolute voice. I'm the master. You can't decide whether I need to be saved or not. Yin Ruhan's heart sank. Looking at the wounds on the girl's body, he couldn't help but feel heartache. He made up his mind. The remaining spirit chi in his body churned in his dantian. But in the next moment, a dazzling white light flashed across the immortal slaughtering plaza, almost blinding everyone. The sword light whizzed past Yin Ruhan, directly cutting through the black demonic aura around his body. Then, it suddenly turned into a flying sword and carried him in a circle in the air. Finally, it slowly landed beside a young man. Yin Ruhan's eyes widened when he saw the youth's appearance. He was overjoyed. "Junior, brother, is it really you?" Because she sees that Mayan is dressed in men's clothing, she forcibly swallows back the words that are on the tip of her tongue and changes it to little junior brother. Mu Yin couldn't help but be overjoyed. She pulled Yin Ruhan's hand and examined his body. After making sure that he wasn't injured or left with any sequelae, and that his cultivation had broken through to the profound immortal realm, he revealed a brilliant smile. "Eldest senior brother, why are you here? You've been here all this time. Why didn't you come and find me?" Mayan remembers that she's been wandering alone in the underworld all this time. She can't help but feel sad when she thinks of her junior martial uncle. She can't help but worry when she thinks of her fellow apprentices, Di Mingju and Xiao Bao. Her words unconsciously carry a bit of grievance. To her, the disciples of the Xiao Yao sect were her real family. She was able to open her heart and trust him wholeheartedly. Chapter 4170. Due to unknown reasons, Sogu is suddenly unable to find this site today. It's just that, junior martial brother, why are you participating in the Devil Race Princess's marriage selection? Have you ever thought about how dangerous this could be? Have you thought about how this will end? Only the heavens knew that when he saw that his junior sister wanted to be the prince consort of the demon race's princess, his soul almost flew out of his body. Not to mention whether or not she would get hurt in the competition, just the fact that she was a woman disguised as a man would be exposed. What could he do in the demon race's territory? With the Qinyuan enveloped by the barrier, they didn't even have a place to escape. Mayan touches her nose and quickly changes the subject. "Eldest brother, this bastard dares to bully you. I'll teach him a lesson for you." The disciples of the Xiaoyao sect loved to cause trouble, so they had been taught a lesson by their eldest martial brother. Every time their eldest senior brother asked them to keep a low profile, they always had no chance to do so. Moreover, every time he stirred up trouble, he was often caught red-handed by eldest senior brother. Then, the eldest senior brother would start a lecture mode that would make their hair stand on end. Whenever Mu Yin thought of that scene, coupled with the fact that fourth senior sister, fifth senior brother, and seventh senior brother weren't with her, and all the firepower was focused on her, she felt apprehensive. After speaking, she immediately walked towards Helian Jua and sneered. Didn't brother Helian want to find someone to fight? Why did they take advantage of the injured Yue? If you want to fight, how about I accompany you? At this moment, Helian Jua's face was so gloomy that it could drip water. He looked coldly at Mu Yin and said sternly, "Who do you think you are? Are you even worthy to fight with me?" As soon as he finished speaking, someone in the crowd screamed, "Yi Liangshun! Ah! Is this Yi Liangshun? He was so handsome. He's 100 times more handsome than Helian Jua. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to support Demon King Yi Liangshun. Oh. I've long heard that Demon King Yi has been assigned to our immortal slaughter city. I was wondering when I would be able to see his graceful bearing. I didn't expect to see him so soon. Yap Liangshun? Who is it? Could it be that he's even more powerful and charming than Helian Jua? Idiot! Have you not been to Tingguang Ruins recently? You don't know what the 3 rankings mean, do you? Demon King Yi is currently publicly recognized as the strongest expert of the younger generation. Not to mention us in the Hidden Abyss, even the Polar Domain and the Nether Realm recognize him. Understood. Bah, the fights in the Tingguang Ruins are just child's play. How can it be compared to a real fight? I still think that Wolf King Helian Jua is more powerful. The onlookers of the Devil Race started to quarrel. Hellion Jua found it hard to believe that the demon race that supported him and the demon race that supported Yu Liangshun were actually evenly matched. He was a country bumpkin from a low-level main city, a poor youth without any family background. He actually wants to be on equal footing with me? Why? Hellion Jua was furious, but he didn't show it on his face. He grinned evilly and said, "So you are Yap Liangshun? What? He wanted to curry favor with Lady Yue just to become the princess's son-in-law? Is a kid like you, who hasn't even grown hair, worthy of Her Highness the Princess?" Mu Yin sneered, the 7 absolutes sword in her hand slightly slanted. She said indifferently, "Let's not talk about whether or not I'm currying favor with Lady Yue, but I thought that our devil race pursues upright and upright, whether strong or respected. Turns out that's not the case. Like Brother Hellion, who likes to take advantage of people's difficulties and scheme. You clearly know that Lady Yue is injured, but you still insist on making a move at this time." Chapter 4171. You clearly know that Lord Yue is injured, yet you insist on making a move at this time. A level 8 demon lord, taking a demon soldier as a hostage. TSK. Even a most despicable and shameless spirit cultivator wouldn't do such a shameless thing, right? I'm guessing that if Her Royal Highness recruited someone like you as her son-in-law, she would be too embarrassed to bring you out, right? Hellion Jua's eyes suddenly condensed with thick, killing intent. But the angrier he got, the brighter the smile on his face. "Yu Liangshun, have you thought it through? Fight with me on the magic crystal platform, and you'll at least have a chance to live. Provoking me now will cost you your life." As he spoke, the pressure of a level 8 demon lord was suddenly released. The immortal slaughtering square that was still chattering noisily just a moment ago instantly went silent. All the demons retreated, their faces revealing a horrified expression. Yu Ying and Night Spirit were so anxious that they were about to cry. Not caring whether she would offend the Hellion family, Yu Ying hurriedly rushed out, forcing herself to calm down. "Young Master Hellion, the Demon Lord has stipulated that all the demons participating in the marriage selection are not allowed to kill each other except in the competition. Young Master Hellion, please reconsider." Hellion Jua narrowed his eyes. His figure suddenly swayed and disappeared on the spot. Yu Ying's eyes suddenly widened, because in the next moment, Hellion Jua had already appeared in front of her. Sharp and cold demonic claws mercilessly clawed at her heart. There was her magic core. Yu Ying had a premonition that this time, her magic core would be directly crushed, and she would die. But at this time, her whole body was stiff, and she didn't even have the strength to move. Mu Yin turned around and saw this scene, her eyes cold. Her footsteps changed, and her figure gradually turned into a shadow. However, there was one person who moved faster than her. Smack! Smack, 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 smack. A series of crisp sounds stunned everyone on the immortal slaying square. Hellion Jua's body suddenly flew out. As soon as he landed, he suddenly stood up with a carp flip. A pair of tiger eyes were completely red, containing disbelief, anger, and killing intent as he looked forward. Not far away, a young and beautiful girl was swinging her hand, revealing a disdainful expression. "Your face is so oily. My hands are all dirty now." Hellion Jua let out an earth-shattering roar. You dare hit me." Yu tilted her head slightly and looked at him with a faint smile. "Not only do I dare to hit you, I also dare to kill you. Do you believe me?" The veins on Hellion Jua's forehead popped out, and his hands that were clenched into fists emitted cracking sounds. Clearly, he was furious. "Yu, do you really think I'm afraid of you? Do you really think I can't kill you?" Hellion Jua's entire body began to emit a dense black aura, and a long black blade condensed in his palm. Everyone could see the viciousness and killing intent in his eyes. Yu's brows furrowed imperceptibly. Her face was still smiling, but her entire body tensed up. She could sense that the pressure and aura emanating from Hellion Jua's body was definitely above the 8th level of Demon Master. This person had hidden himself very deeply. The battle was about to begin. However, at this time, An old man hurriedly ran to Helianjua's side and lowered his voice to whisper in his ear. Young master, Master asked me to inform you not to act rashly. The most important thing now is for you to become the final candidate for the princess, son-in-law, and participate in the heavenly enchantment banquet a month later. Chapter 4172. Helianjua's eyes are crimson, revealing an ominous glint. The old man trembles in fear. He whispers a few more words, and his pupils slowly return to brown. The long blade in his hand disappears, and he coldly snorts at Yu. Yu, I'll remember these slaps. One day, I'll make you pay back tenfold, 100-fold. And you, he turns to look at Mayan, his eyes deep and cold. Yu Liangchen, you better pray that you don't meet me so soon, so that you can live a little longer. After saying this, Helianjua turns and leaves, disappearing in a few steps. Mayan is used to this kind of clamor and doesn't take it to heart. She turns to look at Yu and then at Big Brother. Coughing lightly, she tries her best to speak in a calm tone. Big Brother, what's the relationship between you and Lord Yue? However, her sparkling eyes, full of interest, betray her gossipy nature. Yin Ruhan glares at her, then says, It was Lord Yue who saved my life, even though she brought him back as a magical pet. Mayan wants to ask again, but she swallows her words after looking at Yu, smiling. Big Brother, let's talk about it after we return to the inn. Saying that, she gives Yin Ruhan a look, indicating for him to support Yu. As soon as she enters the room, Yu spits out a mouthful of blood. She was seriously injured in the Yunyang Immortal Mansion, and she didn't have the patience to stay in a place to recuperate, so her injuries haven't fully healed. Today, fighting with Helianjua made her injuries even worse. Just now, because she was in front of others, she kept holding on. It was also because Mayan saw her injuries that she hinted for them to return to the inn. Yu. Yun Ruhan is startled and quickly hugs her. You're injured so badly? She's injured so badly, but she still refuses to properly adjust her breathing and wants to go to the Slaughtering Immortals Square to watch the fun. Yin Ruhan simply doesn't know what to say about this willful little witch. Yu glares at him. Her voice is indignant, but righteous. Why do you care about me? If I didn't go, would you have met your little brother? Now that you have little brother, you don't have to care about me. Are you happy? Yin Ruhan didn't understand why this little demoness would suddenly get angry. He simply looks at Mayan. Junior, brother, can you cure Yu's injury? Mu Yin smiled and said, Of course I can, but we have rules in the Xiaoyao sect. I can't treat anyone who isn't a member of the Xiaoyao sect. Big Brother, do you think Lady Yue is an insider of our Xiaoyao school? Yin Ruhan. Since when did the Xiaoyao school have such a rule? He gave his junior sister a warning look. Don't mess around. Quick, check her injuries. Mu Yin couldn't help but laugh. She wondered if the Xiaoyao school would have another sister-in-law. However, the disciples of the Xiaoyao sect were naturally afraid of Yun Ruhan. After being glared at, she didn't dare cause any more trouble. He quickly went to check on Yu's injuries. Yu is indeed severely injured. After speaking to Yun Ruhan, he fainted. Because she can't take out the Tian Mo Qin, Mayan can't use her healing technique right now. Therefore, the only way was to use pills to alleviate the injury. Fortunately, she had refined a lot of magic pills before. Mu Yin fed all of them to Yu. After a while, the effect of the pills took effect. The magic nucleus in Yu's body began to rotate rapidly, and her injury recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Mu Yin breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that it was effective. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.